Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session in this warm afternoon. I know this is a weekend. This is Saturday, so you guys will be completely exhausted from your weekend and you took out the time to join our session. I really appreciate all of you guys for joining today's session. And the interesting topic from AWS User Group Mumbai today is SheTalk. This is an event what we have organized in collaboration with other partners, AWS User Group Pune, Nashik, as well as our other community partners to celebrate the International Women's Day, which was a month back. I know we are pretty late. Apologies for that. But we took out the time to get you the right people who can help their experience and you can learn from them. So I hope you guys can just forgive us for that. But yeah, with that, today's agenda would be more around talking about that we'll have the first fire chat. We have a very bright people and you will be surprised to look around all the faces. And just to call out one secret, this is for the first time all of this panel will be sharing the same stage. They have never been there. So that's one thing. So I know it's going to be very interesting for you guys. I hope you will like a lot. Followed up, we'll have tech talks. We'll have a few folks talking about technical, how they start with AWS, the DevOps, the security, those kinds of cool discussions we'll have. Followed by the certification, which you all know that it's a buzz which is going in the market. We want to be AWS certified, how we can start our journey. So we'll have a workshop. Speaker will come. She'll share her experience, how she planned it out. How was her journey? She'll talk about the same. And for sure, we'll have a quiz giveaways at regular intervals. So please don't get bored. Stay with us throughout the session. We'll ensure that this is a fun investment what you'll have for this your weekend. And looking forward for you to be there throughout the session. Before I pass it on to my moderator for today's fire chat, let me quickly talk about what's new, what we are cooking in the AWS User Group Mumbai. I know there was a couple of silent period what we had. That silent period we have leveraged to organize ourselves and come up with whole new baggage of ideas with us. So we have introduced a couple of new things. We have networks, experts in our user group Slack channel where you can talk to them respect to technical, any certification, any career advice. We have the experts out there. We'll be having knowledge sharing sessions and learning in terms of contents, blog, video reels, access to AWS contents, AWS blogs, announcements and all. We'll also have offline events with you guys, not just only the online learning events, which we'll have every month, but we'll also have an offline event like things of blogging, certification, help you guys how to write the blogs. Those kinds of events we'll have offline in our Slack workspace. And last but not the least, we'll have the rewards and recognition, a continuous flow of swags, which will work with you guys, and whoever the active participants are there on our Slack workspace will do that. So if you are not been part of our Slack channel, please do register it today. The link is flashing on the screen. It's https://bit.ly/join AWS MUM. And I'll post the same link on the chat. So please do register it right now. And again, we do have our social media platforms. We are active on LinkedIn, Twitter, Slack, as well as on Meetup. So please do subscribe us, join our journey to learn and grow with us. With that, I will keep my mouth zip and I'll pass it on to the control to Sukanya, who's our moderator for today's session. Hi, Sukanya. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sanchit. Thanks for this warm introduction and thanks for passing the mic. So we'll get started on with the fireside chat. We have very special guests with us. While you've seen all of them giving tech talks at various platforms, but here they are today on a very special agenda. They'll be talking about their journey that they have come across through this long career span and how they have faced certain situations and how they are how they have overcome those, and and will be sharing their experience to help you all out through this journey of your STEM career as well. So with me today, I have Bhuvaneshwari Subramani from AWS UG Bangalore. She is the Director of Engineering Operations at Infor. Also, we have Dipali Kulshrestha, AWS UG NCR. She is the Vice President of Data Engineering at NatWest. We have Farzana Afrintisha, AWS UG Bangladesh. She's the Head of Cloud Business at BrainStation 23. We have Rohini Gaunkar with us. She is a senior developer advocate at AWS, and he is also our constant set of motivations to help us continuously go with this community events. And last but not least, we have Sridevi Murugan from AWS UG Chennai. She is the principal technologist at Presidio. I would request all of our panels to uh, take a moment and introduce themselves.
So we chose to go alphabetically, starting with me. This is Bhuvneshwari Subramani here. I work for Infor as a Director of Engineering Operations. I've been associated with AWS User Group Bengaluru since 2017. I'm an AWS community hero, rather now AWS DevTools hero from India. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhuvna.
Okay, so
Dipali,
let
please.
me go alphabetically. Yeah. So, so yes, my name is Dipali Kulshrestha. I'm working as a Vice President of Data Engineering with NatWest. And it's overall, I think, more than 17 years I'm associated with IT, and it's around 3 years I'm part of AWS User Group Delhi. And I'm also a AWS community hero. Over
Farzana.
to
Yeah,
over to
Farzana.
Tisha.
thank
Okay,
you
yeah.
so much. So my turn. So hey, this is Farzan after Tisha. So I'm the head of cloud business in Json Policy, what's a leading IT company in Bangladesh, and I'm also part of AWS Area Group Bangladesh since 2017. So we are trying to build a community here, a very strong one, and specifically for women. So let's look forward to that.
Thank
Awesome. So
you.
that takes it to me. Okay. So hi, my name is Rohini Gaonkar. I have been in the IT industry for more than 12, 13 years now, but spent most of my time, like 8 years at AWS, in different roles from support engineer to solutions architect, and now I am a developer advocate. And I have the privilege and the fun part of my job is working with all these amazing ladies and the rest of the community that we have for AWS in India, and that's me. So over to you, Shridevi.
Thank you, Rohini. Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon. My name is Sridevi Murugan, and I have close to 2 decades of IT experience. I'm part of AWS User Group Chennai and Big Data India. I'm happy to mention that I'm one of the AWS Data Heroes of India. I work as solution architect, focusing on big data and analytics, helping customers solve their problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Shridevi.
Sukanya, you're unmuted.
Yeah, thank you. A little bit of introduction about me. I'm a UG lead from Mumbai. I am also an AWS community builder. In terms of experience, I'm fairly, a kid as compared to all of these senior folks. I have close to 7 years of experience in data science and analytics, and I'd be your moderator for this fireside chat. Happy to have you all. Thank you all for joining. So going on, our first question. So this year, the International Women's Day theme was pretty much break the bias, right? So what does the phrase mean to all of you when it comes to your career, breaking the bias, and how have you experienced in some form or the other through your career?
Who wants to start first?
Whom you wants to start, Sukanya?
Sukanya, whom do you like the most?
Maybe again alphabetically. Bhuvna, why don't you start?
Safe answer. Okay. See, from my perspective, DevOps as an idea was begun in 2008, right? And it took at least 5, 6 years for the people to think the need of dedicated DevOps team to care of the end-to-end application lifecycle management using right set of tooling, process, automation, and exactly the people, right? This is not a 9 to 5 job as the build are tend to break in early days, and we need human to pay attention to it. And the complexity of builds where you have to create packages for multiple platforms for desktop applications, and for every single change that is made it has to be tested before it is delivered. Unlike now, you cannot have a lot of virtual machines running over to the taste what you want or the flavor you like. either in VMware or on your data center or on cloud, right? Within seconds you can create. No, you have to deal with all good old damn machines, test it on all flavors and send it by end of your day. So many a times I was hired as an exception where they didn't get a right candidate, right men. Okay, that's when I was hired at many places in the past, which helped me to learn a lot of things, right? And I got to know that I was hired when they couldn't get a right candidate on the other side after I've been associated with that role for 6 months with the company. But definitely, I've never let my manager regret for hiring me. I delivered to the fullest, even when I had to work from morning 8:30 a.m. till the 10 p.m. or sometimes even 11 p.m. So how it works is you come in the morning, my 8:30 a.m., take the KT, work on it all through the day, and end of the day after 14 hours or so, you pass on the KT to the US counterpart, where he'll continue to work rest of the day. This continued not just on weekdays, even weekends, because this was a critical resource. I don't know how the releases were planned. All the time it was super critical, man. All through days, 6 days in a week. So I happily enjoyed, delivered to the fullest without letting them regret, right? So now I have a couple of women colleagues in DevOps, and I'm super excited to have a women boss too now. So definitely, I wanted to say a big thanks to the men who have hired me first place, right? All the managers in the past who have hired me, despite they were not men candidate for this particular role, they were all men who hired me, right? So they had that trust, and they empowered me to do the things that they wanted with full involvement. That's where I stand where I am today. So thanks a bunch for them. So together we're trying to break the bias, and we did break as well. It's not just me. So I would give the credit to the people who have helped me in this journey as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhuvna. Dipali?
Okay, sure. Thanks, Sukanya. And thanks, Bhuvna, for such an interesting and inspiring story. So, uh, Break the Bias played an important role in my life as well, because when my son was born, being a nuclear family, it was really challenging to take care of a kid when both husband and wife are working. So I had enormous pressure to take a career break. But I was really scared to imagine that, because that is something nowhere aligned with my own ambitions. So I clearly spoke about it and discussed with my husband. Then he also shared his desires that he don't want to get stuck into this 9 to 5 kind of job and want to explore other options for startup. So finally he chose to quit job and operate from home itself so he can look after our son. Though families and friends were not very supportive of this decision, but and they even said that you are not setting a right example for your kid. But now after 10 years, we are glad that we clearly discussed about preferences and broke the bias that always women need to sacrifice their career for family. So yeah, precisely. This is my take that how break the bias played a vital role in my life.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dipali. Farzana?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sukanya. So yeah, break bias for me was an experience. Like one day when I was promoted to managerial role, so now I have to face the customer on the pitch session, and I have to represent the company, the software product and solution that we have to offer. So it's a pretty male dominating tech industry that we have currently in the world. So what is happening eventually, most of the cases people has this mindset even yet, that women might not be able to talk tech, especially when it comes to solution you are giving through for your business with this technology you are using. So yeah, so I was pretty nervous at the very early stage of that time. So one time our CEO called me, and then he said it doesn't really matter if people think about you that you won't be able to talk logic or tech. So don't be bothered or take a lot of pressure on yourself because you would be able to do it. Just like when whenever they're facing their telling you about their pain points, you mark them well, you listen them well, and accordingly you do your solution pitch, and they would be amazed, and eventually they would figure out that you are better than anyone else in the tech industry, and you'd be able to succeed for yourself. So yeah, that was another my take on this is breaking the bias scenario where a man who is also my boss is actually empowering me for breaking such biases that I had from the society itself. So yeah, that was my take about breaking bias, that you have to get empowered by yourself and then you have to uh, try for your journey.
Wonderful. Thank you, Farzana. Rohini, maybe you could also walk us through your story.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to follow such amazing stories. But when I have to say about my career, I think break the bias is the theme of my career as well. Because I did start as a commerce student, so I was one of those who didn't want to get into science because it's too much work. I'd seen my brother go through engineering, and then folks would say, like relatives and others, "What's the point of studying so much? Anyways, you have to get married and settle." But then thankfully I had a good mentor as a teacher, my IT teacher, and she was like, "When you're good with computers, you're good with information technology, just there is a new course that has come out." So I did switch my stream to science. So that's one of the bias that I want to break, that if you're stuck in one and you want to move to other place, you may have to take a step back, but you can always change the course of your life. You don't have to stick to one path even if it's not working for you. So nothing worked for me as per my plan. I did BSc. I wanted to be a tester. To be honest, that time testing was a huge thing, so I had done all courses on automation testing and all of that. I landed up in an R&D job, which people said, "Oh, R&D, it's not growth, you should be a tester or a developer." But luckily that R&D job was about researching different clouds, and this was in 2009 or something, which a lot of senior folks didn't want to do it. So when I was a junior, I was like, it's an experiment, what will happen? I may have to go back and do something else, it's fine. But that experiment paid off because I did fall in love with AWS as a tech, and I was able to, I was trying to find jobs in India, but no company wanted to hire me for some reason. But luckily AWS hired me. I think that was the biggest decision of my life, that was pivotal to where I saw myself grow personally and professionally. Because when I wanted to go to South Africa to become a support engineer, a 25-year-old unmarried, a girl who has never lived alone ever in her life, when I wanted to move, there was a lot of many people, like including my family, my parents, like saying that, you're unmarried, just go wherever you want once you're married. Something will happen to you, you won't be able to take care of yourself, who will do all these things for you? And my brother was supportive of that situation, and he was living for so many years before me outside alone, and he never got these questions, right? So that's the bias that I face, that in the same family, if my brother is able to do it, I'm not, because I'm a girl. But my brother stood, was behind me. He's like, "No, let her become independent. So this is an opportunity that he will become independent on her own. And the questions that you have, these questions are going to be turned around." And I'm really happy that I was able to make him proud with all these decisions. So I would say my career is breaking the bias theme. I'm still experimenting with a lot of things. If you see my career, I've been a support engineer, solution architect. Now I'm doing DevRel. Everything is almost an experience, an experiment, but a good experience in all. And even if you ask me today to do something else, I've had these discussions with Bhuvna Dipali that, tomorrow if someone tells me to do something else, I think now I'm like, throw anything at me, I'm just going to be able to swim in it, because I've made myself get used to being out of that comfort zone. So I'll stop talking because I can take a lot of time, and I'll pass it on to Sri Devi.
But Rohini, just one point. I think more than you, it's AWS. They are lucky to hire you.
Oh, thank you so much. I wish I could send my promotion document to you. But thank you so much. Thank you.
Shri, you are on mute.
Sridevi, you're on mute.
Okay. Yeah. To answer your question, Sukanya, so I am going to go two different scenarios where we had to break the bias and take our own decision. So bias, it can come out of either positive or negative intentions. Sometimes, people tend to over care for us, and they may not be giving us, the work that needs a lot of effort, and we have to stretch on the weekends, right? So I had one such situation where my boss did not want me to work on the weekends and spend a lot of time on the night. So he always gives me the lightweight projects. So everybody should have faced such scenario if you have got a very nice boss. So in case if you have such boss, go tell them that you need challenging opportunities, and it is not our boss's responsibility to give us a light work. It is our responsibility to go and tell them if you need support. Otherwise, always fight for the right opportunity and equal treatment when you are in an organization. So actually, to be very honest, that was the starting point for me to start contributing to the community as well. Okay, after I said that, it was him who pushed me to start participating in the community, and that is when I started with my very first event. Okay, and the other one is on the personal front. So when I way back in 2013, I had the opportunity to travel on site for a long term. So if I had to travel, my husband had to quit his job and join with me. So when I proposed this plan, again, I know everybody, the family doesn't want husbands to quit, right? So they'll be going the other way around. But I could talk to my parents and my in-laws as well, and how with the support of my husband, we could take that bold decision. He quit his job, and both of us were working in the same organization at the same grade, but still he gave up his job and we traveled, and he's still working for the same company until now. It's past 8 years, so he's still associated with the same company from India. So it is that decision which helped us, to be financially stable at this point of time. So I think these two things are really important. These two decisions that I've taken in my career, it's really very important decisions, and I think that is helping me a lot. Thank you, Sukha.
Wonderful, wonderful. In regards to all of these answers, I can't hold myself from asking this question, especially to Bhuvana, Sridevi, and Dipali. So you all hold important roles in your organizations, right? And also you are full-time mothers. How do you balance work and life? How has motherhood helped you in your career journey, and vice versa? How would you like to put forward this journey?
Maybe I'll go for this question, Sukanya. Okay. So I think to be successful, irrespective of contributing to community or to be successful in your life itself, I think you need support. Okay. The support could be from your family or your peers, your friends. Okay. So I think I've got a very good family with me. So my parents, my in-laws, my husband, my kid. So all of them support me in whatever ways they could. Even for today's session, it was my kid who arranged this room for me. So, so that is how it works, right? Without everybody's support, I don't think we can sustain this industry for a long time. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Vipali, maybe you could go next.
Sure, sure. So Sukanya, like just yesterday itself, like I was in a call where my colleagues were praising me towards this recent AWS hero recognition. And you know what is it, Dipali? Means, are you privileged? Have you got like 50 hours in a day? How come you manage so many things? How come you are like part of so many initiatives? So I would say, like, definitely it is something not possible without the support of your family and managers. Fortunately, I'm working in an organization which is famous for its work-life balance and have been awarded as a great place to work multiple times in a row. But as an individual, the key thing which helps me to make this balance is by creating to-dos on daily basis. So daily basis, I prioritize and delegate tasks wherever I can. It helps me with effective time management and dealing with important things well in times, and so that I am not leaving them for last minute and feeling stressed about it. So yeah, I think that is pretty much my strategy.
Awesome, awesome. Bhuvana, you have some interesting stories with you and your kids during the lockdown time. Why don't you mention those?
Definitely. See, I always say that there is no pre-written rule to balance one's personal and professional life. Right. It's always you have to take it as it comes. But in the same conversation, Sukanya, and recently when I was part of yet another women's forum addressing them, I had a question from young mother. I have a 2-year-old baby. I'm finding it difficult to take care of the baby and work. What should I do? Can I quit? I said, no, just hold on. Things will fall into place and she will grow up as a better child by seeing you how you're able to balance between work and your career. Right. So, with my own example, if I wanted to give you, wherever I go for presentations or conferences, many a times, if it is a college or for community events, wherever I could take, I would take both the boys with me, mother of two boys. The elder one is in 10th class now, and the younger one is in 6th grade. So I used to take them most of the time along with me. Or if it is a place where I cannot manage both, I will take at least one. So it'll give them that exposure, right? Even if it is a 3-hour session, they'll sit quietly and listen, or they'll just turn up their own books of interest. It's a couple of books that matters to them. They'll happily come with me. And one thing I'll tell you, during this lockdown, we all sit in different rooms, work, and kids also attend online class. Many times it's a chaos. Amidst all of that chaos, whenever dad is attending the meeting or he's on work, shh, it's a gentle feeling at home, right? Huh, Appa is working. Let's not talk. Don't disturb. Don't go to that room. The same thing. If Amma is working, what happens? Amma, I'll come and sit in your room. That's what exactly they say. Whether I'm taking a 2-hour session or I've done a lot of community events or conferences, I've been talking. So they'll always sit in the room because during the presentations, especially, I have the AC turned on, the room is locked. They'll have a cozy atmosphere with a book in hand, they'll sit beside, but they'll watch out how Amma is talking, what she's doing, all that. So it has definitely helped them to transform into two things. Either I could got the opportunity to mentor or they had that opportunity to learn. So I could help my elder one publish two of his poetry books during this lockdown. One is The Five C's of Mother India. Uh, that is the recent one. And prior to that, his first one, Pressure Droplets, a collection of 45 poems, where he spoke about each and every little thing in a positive way. And the little one, inspired by the elder one, he came up to me and said, Amma, can you publish a book for me? I said, if you write, I will publish. Then he also wrote something which I'm due to publish probably in a couple of weeks. It will be out. And he also developed his own website because Amma has her own website, right? I should also have my own website. So he understood all these terms, S3, EC2, what not to talk based on this, right? So I feel now, however I talk, if they're with me for some time, they could present that well. I don't have to teach them. They'll learn by seeing you. They would follow you. They'll never listen to you. So this has really helped me also to grow, for them also to grow along with me.
Very inspiring, very inspiring. My next question to you, Rohini. You briefly mentioned about your various roles and the unique role sets that you had throughout your career journey. And even within AWS, you've changed roles from a client-facing role to a community-facing role. Would you like to tell us a bit about your journey in depth, and how has
So,
that helped you shape your career as well?
so when foreigners see the traffic on Indian roads, they are like, "Oh, this is chaos! Like, how do you guys even drive like this? This such a chaotic thing. Who's going where? No one knows." But to be honest, we all just understand there's just logic to that chaos, right? You hardly see any accidents happening compared to the other places when there is actually open roads and they have proper rules. I've seen more accidents in Singapore than I've seen on Mumbai roads, to be honest. Obviously, it's the other reasons as well, but that's the thing. For someone else, outsider, it would think that this girl is just doing things randomly and she's just doing things because, I've got these comments. You've been lucky to get those roles, or you've been, handed over these things. But people don't really understand the logic behind why I am doing certain things with my career. Uh, for me, I always think about what's next. Uh, People say, look, 5 years, 10 years down the line. To be honest, I feel that is too far off for myself, seeing myself 5 years, 10 years down the line. as I mentioned, planning doesn't work for me. If I plan something, the universe will go against me and like ruin that plan. So I've stopped doing that. And COVID taught me that, even if I had planned something for 5 years down the line, it would have not worked out because something like this would have changed the fate. So I was like, always looking out 2 years as an horizon for what I want to do. And when I took that support engineer role at AWS, my point was to get into AWS, right? For I was working with a solution architect when in my previous company, but that company's vision changed, and that's my vision was something different with respect to cloud, and the company's vision was not with the cloud. And for me, I wanted to pursue my vision, right? What I wanted to plan for myself. And that's why I get into AWS was support engineer is a very basic role that I even tell a lot of folks that CSA is a very easier way to get into a company like AWS or Amazon. And that's what I took. So I speak from my experience. I took that route. While I was doing a lot of work as support engineer, I always had to think about what next. And I researched multiple roles. And it's not easy to move between roles in AWS as well. You have to go through interviews. A lot of folks don't understand that there are internal interviews that you have to clear before you get into that. So I did upskill myself. I did try to talk to a lot of folks that what do I need to do now to get that role. See, it's always not like, oh, once I get that role, I'll start doing that activity. If you want to see yourself, so for example, I wanted to see myself as a developer advocate. I knew that I need to learn how to present myself. I need to learn how to connect with people. I was an introvert. I had to push myself to go and meet people, to talk to people. That process itself took 2 years because that role opened for me. They were like, we know you're doing already, you should become. But I was like, no, I don't think I'm ready for it. And when I feel ready, I'm going to take that role. So it took 2 years for me to actually build myself to come onto a role that I'm actually doing right now. So I always tell this, and I think I've said it many times in different forums, what you're doing right now should become a muscle memory for you, should not become like a too much of a headache. And that's what these beautiful ladies who are doing so much work at their own pace, and they're able to do community work, because what they're doing, it has become so easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's become something that they can do even if you wake them up at 3 a.m. in the night. And that's why they are able to do something more and additional. There is no other effort. Acha, I can't do my own work, how do I even do all these things? That thought comes later on, because now they are able to do their own work. And that's where you have to be. You have to learn to do your own work in a way that now you can prepare yourself for what next, or you can do these additional activities and give back to the community. That's how you have to plan your life. You can't just be saying, acha, I want to do a certification, but then you're not setting a date, you're not working hard for it, you're not doing anything for it, and you're just saying, oh, I'm not getting cloud related jobs. Why would anyone give you a job just because you have maybe even a certification? There are a lot of people who have certification. What is it that you're doing extra beyond that just certification for someone to approach you for that job? So you have to start thinking and asking yourself these questions. And that's what I keep doing. Like continuously, I have a huge imposter syndrome, by the way. So I keep pushing myself to do that. And somehow that has helped me keep myself pushing forward.
Well said, Rohini. Thank you. And that exactly brings me on to my next question. So, as you rightly mentioned, all of these beautiful ladies have been an integral part of the community, and they have been doing so much besides their role within their organizations and also being mothers. What my question to all of you here: what motivates you, and how has the community experience benefited you? What would you like to suggest these kind of experiences to others who want to build a career in STEM as well?
Let's start with Tisha.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I think what motivates me is basically when someone now knows me that, yeah, if I ask something about like AWS, what's happening around, how to do certification, where are the boot camps, people actually knows that Tisha Apu is there to help them with the right kind of connection. So yeah, that is something I feel like after since 2017 I have been trying to build a community here in Bangladesh, and then it's a tech community, so people doesn't often like join that easily and try to learn something, connect with everyone else. So in tech community, people are usually shy, and then it's a community where, like, professionals, irrespective of gender, is coming together and trying to learn from each other. So now they know, actually, being the part of the, like, as a community leader, you get that kind of response that people, whenever they're feeling that they might need any help regarding their professional, like, career development, or what can be the next move, this sort of, like, consultation as well, people feel like they can connect with me. So that is something I think, as a part of accomplishment, as of yet now, I have yet to have a long journey ahead, of me. But then again, this small moment of, like, a sense of accomplishment, that I could connect with my community, and as well as, like, community outside. So today I'm participating in one of Mumbai's community events. So yeah, that is something amazing, and I could connect, like, internationally as well. So that sense of accomplishment actually motivates me every now and then, and creating other, like, leaders after me who are also contributing a lot into the community. So that is something I think I'm very proud of right at this moment. Thank you.
Great, great. Also, Rohini, you have, even though you don't directly, you are not a UG leader, but still you are the primary point of contact for us in terms of community along with Ridhima. How has your experience, how has your journey been from shifting roles, and how do you feel being a part of the community right now?
Then I mean, I opted for this, so I have no complaints. I've met Bhuvna years ago, even before she was a hero, and I was so amazed to see her go on stage and speak and present there. I've not, to be very honest, I've not ever met Dipali and Devi and even Farzana, but I still feel like I can just call up and have those venting sessions or have some kind of discussions that like they are my friends. Even I've met Sukanya, by the way. I've met Sukanya before she went back home, and that's the thing, right? Like, this is the motivation that I can make friends who have who are from diverse backgrounds, who are from different places, then, and they are amazing in their field of work, and I get to learn so much from so many folks. That motivates me. The second thing is I get a lot of pings from folks that say, I got a job here, or I did my certification, and when that happiness, like, I may not have done anything, like, I've not done the studies for them. They have studied hard for that certification. They have done the hard work. I just may have pointed them to a link or may have asked them to talk to someone else. But that, even that small effort, people value that small effort. And that's what community is. People help each other, and that small effort that you do in someone's life could be a bigger impact in their life. And to see that actually happening, I think, they say job satisfaction. I think that's it. Like, in the end, I won't care. I mean, obviously I'm working for money, but then that is just one part of the job. The satisfaction that comes from working with so many folks, like, I'll be very honest, when I was working on customer facing projects, I think my job satisfaction was the lowest, because in the end, something was breaking and someone was unhappy, right? Even as a support engineer or as a solution architect. But when you work with community, there are some people who will be unhappy. That's fine. You can't make everyone happy. But then 99% of folks are happy with whatever they're doing in their life. And what else do I need to motivate myself to get out of bed and have that smaller impact in anyone's life? So that's me.
Awesome, awesome. Needless to say, Bhuvana has also been a great source of inspiration for me. When we as in Sridevi and I got our first diversity scholars, Sridevi has been outside the country for many previous times, but that was my first time, and Bhuvana has always guided me throughout that journey. So thank you, Bhuvana. And that brings me to the question that so how does community motivates you, and basically what motivates you to be so much giving towards the community, and what message would you like to convey to newcomers who are just starting their career in STEM and wants to be a part of a community such as us?
Who wants to go?
Bhuvana,
Bhuvna, you're on mute.
you're on mute.
Yeah.
I mean, we follow the rules and we forget things. Okay, so if you ask me, like, why am I associated with a community like this? It's nothing but the sheer joy of unlearning, learning, and sharing, which motivates me to be part of this wonderful tech community where I started associating myself with AWS User Group Bengaluru in 2017. When we also talk about the break the ice, right? When I started going for meetups in those days, I used to be, most of the time, I used to be the only woman, even for the meetup. And first community day, I was the only women speaker. It continued, right? But I definitely wanted to say a big thanks to Jeevan, Satya, Ransi, Habib, then, and Prashant. Very, very supportive people, right? That gave me such a respectful platform, I would say, which helped me to continue as a speaker or an organizer. So, all of that for me, like from a person who deliver guest lecture only to selected engineering colleges across Tamil Nadu prior to this 2017, and I was very active speaker within Infor. Sometimes for doing a lot of organizational events, people mistake me whether I belong to HR or tech pub or my own self. So I am active to that extent. But outside, zero. I don't participate in any events, either attending or speaking. Only after this association with community, it has raised up to me to an international speaker on a global platform. Especially, I was able to speak 3 times consecutively in AWS reInvent. Also, I continue to impact more students and staff across in India. This wouldn't have been possible unless I have started associating myself with a larger community like this. So definitely it's always indebted and big thanks to AWS user group. And also the other thing, whenever you organize AWS community day, right, be it an online one or an offline one, right from initial ideation, building up the website, putting the content or agenda on the website, looking for speakers. So if you run through all of this as a team, right, as a team, unpaid people, like-minded people who put extra time beyond their work, join together and bring in such a wonderful creative ideas. When you're part of a couple of such community days organizing, then I feel I'm ready to venture into my own startup. So much learning, I would definitely say. So a big thanks to the community.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Bhuvna, for this inspirational journey. Sridevi, so for you, I believe it started on around 2018 from UG Chennai, then becoming the diversity scholar recipient in 2019, and then, of course, now being a data hero. So, how has the journey been, and what would you like to say to newcomers?
You covered most of the points I wanted to talk, Sukanya. Okay, yeah. So yeah, as you said, I started my community right way back in 2019. The amount of friends, the learning and experience I've got in the last 3 to 4 years is more than the experience that I've had in the last 15 years. Okay. So I've got so many friends, and community is more about giving, right? So you don't have to worry about how much you want to give, right? You can give as much ever you can, and it is up to the audience to take what they want to. So there is no complaints. So there is nothing you're taking as money here, right? It is more about sharing of your knowledge. So I should definitely thank Bona, Rashmi, Suman, Rohini, and Partha. So these are the 5 people who were pushing me during the initial phases, right? So first ever talk I gave in Chennai. I think Partha took so much effort in making me talk in that event, and then constantly supported by Mona and Rashmi. So all of the awards, whatever we received as part of Women's Scholarship or the Data Hero program, I think it is all with the support of these great people that we were able to achieve. So I should actually know it's more more than thanks. It is more of their support which is keeping us pushed so long, and it gives us the opportunity to organize these community days. And with all of this experience, right, I think we are becoming more empowered and more confident than before. So I thoroughly enjoy these community day programs, and it is making me a better human. Thank you, Sukanya.
Awesome, awesome. Also, the same for you, Dipali. Within a very short span of time, you are now a community hero. How has the journey been, and what would you like to say to newcomers?
So, Sukanya, I know my experience is no different than like Sri Devi, Bhuvna, Rohini. I think it felt like it is my own story. But being with community keep me really energetic and motivated because this is the place where I can collaborate with like-minded people and try out new and different things apart from my daily job, like we are doing one today. So it's fantastic mutual learning platform, and I also take it as an opportunity to give back to the society by sharing my knowledge and experience and help people to upskill and do better things in their career. So, to the newcomers, my advice would be that, especially to the college students, that don't just stick to your curriculum. Explore multiple things around, be part of such communities or open sources, experiment new things, explore new things, learn, participate in hackathons. So there are like enormous learning opportunities all around. So just be part of those and prepare yourself to be market ready.
Awesome, awesome. In continuation to this, my question to you, Farzana, would be: you are an integral part of AWS UG Bangladesh, and you have been one of the driving members of UG Bangladesh. How are you motivating, being a woman, how are you also motivating and attracting other women to come forward, be a part of the community, and be a part of STEM focused roles at large?
So I think it starts where you're spending most of your time. That's your colleagues, right? So I have this amazing group of colleagues who are also like they're developers, DevOps engineers, cloud experts, and people like that. So whenever we are into the common room, what used to happen, we used to talk about what's going on with their lives, what are the learning next, what is coming. So with this regard, when what happened like in back in 2017, I came to know that AWS is a huge cloud platform that is being used by most of the application deployment, and most of the big companies are running on AWS and cloud. So then the cloud thing happened, and I came to know about it. So it was that common room girls, common room discussion that hit my mind that we can actually start a community where we can learn about these things. And after that, what happened? We actually started with a Facebook group. And Facebook group, we invited all the engineers from our networks and from different companies. So then it used to happen when cloud people are started. People back in 2017, cloud was still a new concept among the most of the companies in Bangladesh. So people who were actually using cloud solution, then they know about cloud. But other than that, no other companies haven't has that much of a clue what is cloud technology are being able to do for them. So then this community talks actually initiated that kind of ecosystem building. Now most of the companies in Bangladesh at least know about AWS cloud. So people know about the fintech solutions that are hosted on AWS, or the different healthcare solutions, service platforms. So now it's very common due to this community activity. People actually gather that knowledge all together, ask question about their know-hows. So this is how we build a whole ecosystem that I would say in Bangladesh. So yeah, that is something I think as part of the contributor in the community, you feel that you could actually create those interesting talkings around your peers and networks, and you can help each other to learn what is coming next. So yeah, that is it.
Awesome, awesome. So we are almost at the top of the hour, but still, I would like to ask one last question to all of you. Why is it important? Why do you think it's important to advocate for women to advocate for one another, right, and inspire each other? How can women? How can we, as a team, also inspire each other and also bring in new women into our user groups and also into tech roles? What advice do you have for newbies as well as who are also into their mid careers to make a transition towards a tech role or even a tech leadership role. Maybe since it's addressed to all, maybe we'll go alphabetically. Bhumra, if you would like to go first. You're on mute, Bhumra. Yeah.
I don't know whether you all agree for it or not. If more than two women sit together and talk, most of the people you get a feedback saying that either they are gossiping or venting out, right? We can do something more than that also. I am here to say that. So one of my close friend Vijay Nirmala, most of you might know, she is someone specialized in application design development for database. Okay, we both worked together till 2014. Yeah. So 2014 to 2004 to 2005. That's when we both worked together. We used to still continue to have a lot of tech conversations. So when I started associating myself with AWS User Group Bengaluru, I told her, why don't you come along? She got really interested into AWS tools and services. She took learning very seriously. She moved into AWS projects at her own office as well. She co-presented along with me in AWS Community Day Bengaluru 2018, and especially it was an advanced track. Imagine the amount of knowledge she would have gained in that short period of time. And she continued to present thereafter in community days in Bangalore, Chennai, Kochi, all of that. No stopping thereafter for her. She started blogging. She's an amazing tech blogger and speaker. So she was also one of the B Power Tech grant recipient for AWS Reinvent 2019. After 2014, after 2004 or 5, after my marriage, it's hardly I've met her except for this community day or so. So we got an opportunity to travel together for Reinvent as well, right? That came as a surprise. I went as a hero and she came as a B Power grant recipient. And she's now an AWS community builder for 2 consecutive years in a row. She's an amazing example of what impact AWS User Group Bengaluru had as a great cross-learning platform for individuals. And Community Day has definitely been a stage for bringing out a lot of hidden talents. We don't call in amazing speakers, fully experienced speakers onto the stage, only you have to speak. No, we used to give equal importance to even the newbies, mid-level people, or expertise, right? So definitely I wanted to say that as a women in tech, we can stand by each other to help them soar high to break all the barriers. So that I would always recollect as a best example. So Nirmala is, I'm quoting it as in one example. Definitely there are a lot of people, the school students or college students or even the community people would ping me separately on LinkedIn, would give just mere guidance. They will take up and they'll come back and say, I've completed this certification, that certification. Even a college student, she was a second year or third year student, she took guidance. She completed, that was a couple of years before. And last Women's Day, I went to KSR City College of Engineering. One girl's face was so familiar to me. She smiled at me. I usually smile at a lot of people when I meet them. It's something inexpensive, right? You give and you get back. I smile. So I thought like that. But she has actually smiled at me with some kind of acquaintance. At the end of the session, she came up to the stage and told me, Ma'am, I've met you for a very short duration in Bangalore in one of the event for 10 minutes. You were such a source of inspiration. I have finished my first cloud certification. She said that. A third year engineering student, right? So, knowingly or unknowingly, we continue to inspire people, right? So, I would definitely want all of you to continue to do what you're doing. Only the people who come up to you and say they're not the one who gets inspired. There are many more who are silently might be following or even eventually lead you also. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Bhuvna. Dipali, what would be your piece of advice?
Okay, I think by virtue of nature, women are known to be very empathetic, compassionate, and forgiving. They are normally driven by whatever is offered to them rather than expressing or asking that what they want. And I also did the same mistake. I never asked for promotion at work. thinking if I'm deserving, it. But it never happened. So ultimately, when I was frustrated, I talked about it with my manager, and my manager innocently said that I thought you are happy with your role and happily managing work and home. So, girls, please take charge of your career, decide your goals, create a roadmap, ask for support, and focus. My advice to all of you would be to believe in yourself, negotiate for yourself, be vocal, have your say, put your perspective, be what you want to be, and let the success inspire others. And trust me, such attitude is truly contagious. So,
Very
yeah.
well said. Very well said.
Can't
Thank
agree
you.
more to you.
Farzana, what would be your piece of advice?
Yeah, my advice is pretty simple. Just do best and try to help others so then they can do their best as well. So if as a woman we can try to help each other out, I know there is no other strength stronger than that bond that can create wonders. So I'm sure now I have friends Rohini, Bhavna, Sukanya, Dipali. So I think now this is Sridevi. So now this is something we are creating. Like we are creating a strong bond to help each other and to grow together. So that is something I think we, as a part of ourselves, we can do. We try to do our best and we try to help each other to do their best as well. So that is one piece of advice I would like to give to the youth.
Awesome. Awesome. Rohini, your piece of advice?
So Dipali actually summarized my whole response to this question, but let me let me give you three
Sorry.
key points. Right? And these points can apply to men and women, but typically I push women to think over it because men in general are good at some of these points. The first thing is remove the noise. There will be a lot of noise from the society. You're a girl, you have to get married, you have to have kids, you don't need to focus here. Just block out all that noise. Think of what you want to do. Be your own cheerleader, right? Find your own positives in the world. If there are 100 people telling you don't do this, there will be 2000 people on the other side telling you do it. So find your clan, find the women, like Tisha mentioned, like Farzana mentioned. Find your bonding, find your place. These people will absolutely motivate you, and you will be doing amazing things. Just block out these negatives, and don't look at social media. It's just grass on the other side. Everyone's sharing good things, they are not sharing their struggles. So don't just feel like, oh, someone is doing so awesomely but I'm not doing well. A lot of us are doing struggling in with a lot of things. We necessarily don't put it on social media. So even if you're feeling that you're struggling with a lot of things, ask for help, right? Ask for help. Ask for that promotion, like Dipali mentioned. Ask for opportunities. Ask for that interview for that job. If you don't ask, no one is coming. No one is getting that Bollywood style thali and giving you food in your hands. You have to ask for it, right? So first of all is, remove that noise. Be your own cheerleader. And I've done this exercise with a lot of my mentees, by the way. Don't just think that I don't know anything. A lot of women do this, right? If there's a job interview and then the JD has like 10 things and they will like, okay, I can maybe do 6 things and the 4 things are not my thing. I'm not applying for that job. Don't do that mistake. Go ahead and apply for that job. What will happen? You'll not get that interview, but you learn out of it. If you One of my friends, she did like 100 interviews, and the kind of negotiations she did out of this exercise, the kind of learning she had out of this. Now if you tell her to do interviews again, she'll be like, everything is ready because I have it all documented of what I can do, right? Even that small thing, like, even if you think that, oh, I spoke up in a meeting for the first time, write it down. You don't have to show it to anyone, you don't have to post it on social media. It's for yourself, right? So be honest to yourself about your soft skills, about your tech skills. Find your own gaps and try to fill in those own gaps and write. Please don't keep it all in your mind because your mind plays games with you. Write it down, that helps a lot, right? And go and ask for opportunities. And the third one is financial independence. A lot of times I feel we women don't treat our careers as ambition. We treat our careers as it's just a job, right? So if you are going to treat your career as something expendable, You're going to be the first choice when something comes in. Oh, there's a baby, there's someone sick in your family. You're going to be the first choice that is going to be an expendable. So stop making yourself expendable. Don't treat your job as it's just something that is earning me money. Treat it as an ambition. And very important, financial independence is not just earning money. This is a very incorrect understanding a lot of, especially females, have, that I earn money, so I should be important. I'm sorry, but that is not it. You have to learn to invest that money. You have to learn to how do you pay your taxes, how do you pay your bills. A lot of times, like I have this argument in my family as well. The problem is that a lot of females think that I earn money, so I should get that importance. I'm sorry, but if you're not paying your bills, if you're not financial independence, you're not doing your investments, you're not going to be taken seriously because you're just one source of income, but someone else is actually doing a heavy lifting in the family, right? So you have to be that active person. You have to take in those responsibilities, and when you take those responsibilities, you will start earning the trust and start earning those things. We can't just be saying that okay, women should be given opportunities when they are not upscaling themselves. That is where I try to fight in that. No, if you want that job, you also have to work hard for it. You can't just stand up and say because I'm a woman I need that, or because I'm a diversity. And that is something I'm really strong middle for, that it should be on metrics. It doesn't matter what diversity you are, you're from a gender or race or whatever, you should be strong with the metrics. And that is something we can do. Right now IT jobs don't need you to have like six pack abs or like muscles or something. It's all about learning skills, and you all can learn skills, you can push yourself, so do that. And I guarantee you, you will be successful. Definitely, I spoke a lot, so I give it back. I
Thank you,
think I need
Rohini.
anything.
Wonderfully said. Sridevi, your piece of advice?
Yeah. I this is from one of my team members, right? So after the session, one of the community events, she came and told me when they see speakers on stage, right? It is normal, okay, but when they see some women speakers on stage, they know for themselves, right? So this happened during the event that we had in Chennai, right? So where we had Bhuvana talking, we had Nirmala talking, and we were hosting. So they could see a lot of women participating here, right? So women standing in a stage itself, motivates a lot of people. And this is because, right, we are the the position that we are doing, right, that may resonate very well with the women employees, right? Rather than a male doing it, I think if we do it, I think it will go well within themselves. A piece of advice based on my experience, right, on how I moved on to the community and what I'm doing now and how can others do it. So create a personal brand for yourself. This is not for marketing. You're not going to say who you are, what you're doing, but create it for yourself and see how you can make that brand public. Okay, so learn, master that technology, be empowered, be vocal. You have to voice your expertise. Just learning and keeping it to yourself is not going to help. So voice your expertise, contribute to the community, grab any opportunity in front of you. You can succeed or you can fail, that's fine, that's a learning. Grab any opportunity, show your experience and give your best. I think with that you'll go places. So don't be put down when you're not succeeding in the initial steps. Definitely take some time and you'll definitely succeed towards the end of all your efforts. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to tell. So wishing all the women here a very best in their career.
Wonderfully said. With this, I would like to conclude this panel. Thank you all for taking time out on a Saturday afternoon and coming here, sharing your life journey. I'm sure these experiences are and will be inspiration for a lot of newcomers as well as people who are in their early career and will help them grow as well. Again, thanks once again to one and all. Thank you all for taking time out and coming here.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Sukanya, for
having
this
us.
innovative idea, and it's a good initiative. I think it will definitely help with definitely help newcomers, and it's such an enriching experience for all of us to hear such an inspiring stories just in 1 hour. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sukanya.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having us,
Sukanya.
Sukanya.
yeah, a lot of learning, and yeah, good to see all of you on the same stage. So thank you so much.
Exactly. Long time after all of us are on the same stage, and it feels great to see all of you. Thank you all.
So that was our first session where we had a fire chat with our interesting panel. I hope you guys liked it and you learned a lot. Thank you so much, all the panels. We do really appreciate that you took out the time from your busy schedule on the weekend. And there's a lot of learning. I can see a good interaction that's going on the chat. So I really appreciate. Thank you so much, all the panels, for joining. And for sure, we'll keep your advice and we'll organize such more sessions to see all of the space sharing the same stage. With that, let me continue our second section for today's event, which is around the tech talks. And for that, we have a wonderful speaker, a very young Aishwarya. And let me quickly introduce Aishwarya about herself before I pass it on the stage. She's very excited and looking forward for the introduction. So let me not waste more time about introducing her and pass it on the stage to her. So Aishwarya Gupta, she's a senior cloud engineer at AWS at Quantify. She's responsible for ensuring all the DevOps best practices, all in and out job, what she is looking forward and really looking forward, excited to share her knowledge around the security, what she has gathered in past couple of years. With that, let me bring Aishwarya on the stage. Hey Ash, how are you doing today?
Hey Sanchit, good afternoon everyone. I'm doing great. Uh, it's a great opportunity to talk to everyone about what I've learned on AWS security today.
Awesome. So would you go ahead and share your screen, please?
Yes, yes.
And yeah, in meantime, I would remind all the audience before the session starts, there is a quiz right after the session. So please do stay on the bridge. The winners will get giveaways, and for the giveaways you need to register. So I'll also push the link on the chat of the video, and please be stay us, as well as I will give a reminder, please join our AWS user group Mumbai Slack workspace. The link is flashing on the screen, https bit.ly/join AWS Mumbai. With that, I'll pass it on to Aishwarya.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Today I'll be your speaker for SheTalks on presented by AWS User Groups Mumbai. So, as Sanchit already said, I am a senior cloud engineer at Quantify for AWS. Let's see the agenda for today. So, today we'll be talking about a lot of AWS security, audit, and compliance services. So, let me just introduce you how these services lie in separate domains and why AWS has provided us with all of these services. So once you move your application or infrastructure to AWS, what are the major advantages that you get when you move to AWS? So that is, AWS allows the customer to be free of the operational burden of the security of the platform, the physical layer as well as the network layer, where the infrastructure is actually hosted. So AWS takes charge of the security of the cloud, whereas it provides us with various services, various ways in which we can secure our application and the infrastructure that we have provisioned. So part of this is, the first category would be identity and access management. So basically, if you have hosted your application within one AWS account, and you have multiple people accessing that account, you would want to keep a check on who accesses what service, who is allowed to do what. So that's where AWS IAM comes in. So we'll be talking in detail about this in just a minute. Apart from IAM, there is also the AWS single sign-on service. That is more of a large-scale implementation of IAM. If you have multiple accounts in your application, then using single sign-on, we can centrally manage the permissions, the roles, the users that we create in our account. And similarly, there is AWS Cognito. So the above two services talk about what the creators of the applications have access to, whereas Cognito is more about authenticating and authorizing the users of the application. Moving on to the next category, we have infrastructure protection. So the network where you've hosted your application, or the firewall that you create to protect your application from internet. So this is where these services such as AWS Web Application Firewall come in, AWS Shield for denial of service attack, and so on and so forth. Here, AWS Firewall is again similar to single sign-on, where we want to centrally manage our firewall and the rules that we create in a firewall for multiple accounts. Then we move on to data protection. So all the customer data that is flowing into our application or flowing out of our application, how do we protect that? How do we secure the identifiable information of our customers? That is where the cryptographic services come in. So there is AWS Key Management Service, there is Cloud SSM, there is Certificate Manager for encryption of data in transit, and there is Secrets Manager. We'll be going through all of these services in detail in just a minute. Moving on, our first service for the day is AWS Identity and Access Management. I will try to cover all of these services in brief, as well as I'll be giving you short demos. Please feel free to ask your questions and we'll try to answer all of them. So, for example, for a very simplified version of an application, you have a VPC that is in a region where you've hosted your application on an EC2 instance, and there are some S3 buckets, there is a database instance. So, when there's a developer or there's a platform engineer that is using that account to work with all of these applications, work with all of these services, how do you manage what they do and how they act in that inside that account? How do you monitor that? How do you manage it? How do you control it? That's where IAM comes in. So using IAM, we can have very fine-grained access control for which user has access to what and can perform what actions inside an AWS account. Coming to IAM overview. So as I mentioned, IAM provides us very fine-grained access control for all of what is there inside the AWS account. So it's not just this user has access to S3. It is also this user has access to only read from S3. This user has access to S3 if only the following conditions are satisfied. So it is very fine-grained. As well as with IAM, we can specify who can access which service, which resource, under what conditions. It is a global feature and it is also free, provided by AWS with no additional charge. So IAM has two important sections. There are two things that we need to keep in mind. There is an identity and there is permissions. So what an identity is, something to which we can attach those particular permissions. So an identity can be a user who can log into your AWS account, can be a group of users. For example, 4 or 5 developers that want to access that account can be grouped into an IAM group, or it can be a role. A role is something that we can attach to a service, a particular service inside an AWS account. For example, if your application is hosted on EC2 and if you want to access S3 from your application, then that EC2 should be provided with a role in which it is specified that it can access S3 buckets. So those are the two bifurcations of AWS IAM. So when you access an AWS account, it can be through 2 or 3 ways. You can access it through the console, where username, password, and MFA come into picture. So when you log in through the console, you're prompted for a username and password. So IAM provides us with a way to provide a password policy for stronger, more compliant passwords that user can create. It can also allow us to set an expiration date for a password, so user is forced to change it after a particular period of time. As well as a user can set up MFA for their particular login for two-factor authorization, such that there are very low chances of that account going haywire. Moving on from users, the second bifurcation of IAM was IAM policies or IAM permissions. Policies are basically JSON-based documents where we can define one or more permissions that we want to provide to a user in a structured format. We can also provide regex conditions that we want to be satisfied for the user to be able to access those permissions. There are three types of policies, which I'll be showing you in just a second on the console. There is AWS Managed Policies, some policies that AWS has generically created and that we can reuse across our platform. There are Customer Managed Policies, policies that we can create for finer grain access. And there are inline policies. Inline policies are specific to a particular entity, whether it be a user, a group, or a role, and they can only be referenced inside that entity, whereas other policies can be reused across all of IAM. So let me just take you to the console and show you the IAM console. So here I have the console, the dashboard available. As you can see, IAM has a pretty thorough console here. We have the information about which users have MFA enabled, which don't have MFA enabled. So currently I'm logged in as a user which doesn't have MFA, and IAM recommends that I enable MFA here. It also tells me about how many groups are there, how many users are there, how many roles are there, and how many policies I have created. These are customer managed policies. So if I go into users, currently I have 4 users here. And if I go into my user, I can see all the options that are available. So here I can see all the permissions that are attached to my user. Currently I have administrator access. Here I can see which groups I am a part of, what tags are associated, my security credentials. So that would mean my sign-in user ID and password, as well as if I want to access AWS programmatically through a Python program, or I want to access it using CLI, then I can enable something called as access credentials. So there would be an access key and a secret key generated, and I can use that to access AWS using SDKs or CLIs. And there is a tool called Access Advisor as well that tells me what all services this user has used in the past few days or few months period of time. And thus I can choose to make my permission more fine-grained based on what services I need to access. I can also add more permissions here. So as I said, users are a type of entity to which I can attach one or more policies. So I can attach existing policies here. These, as you can see, these policies are AWS managed. And if I don't see this, like this square here, then it is customer managed. So I can attach any number of policies to my user, and I can give it more privilege inside my account. Similarly, there are roles. Roles are something that can be assumed by a particular service. In special cases, roles can be assumed by users as well, and by different AWS accounts as well. So all of these roles are AWS provided. So I'll show you one of the roles that I have created. This is a Lambda role that I've created. So it gives me all of this information about this role and all of these policies that I've attached to it. As you can see, this is an inline policy. So I can only see it inside this role and nowhere else. And these are AWS managed policies that I've attached to my role. Trust relationships is basically which service can assume this role. So currently only Lambda can assume this role, but I can edit this trust policy and I can also make, let's say, an EC2 instance to be able to assume this role. Multiple services can assume a particular role. And similarly, the other tabs provided here. These are the policies that we create. So if I go and create a policy currently, I'll show you the structure of a policy. So it is in JSON format, as we can see. And I can also use the console to create my JSON policy. So if I use S3 here, and I specify all S3 actions here for all resources, I'll describe that in just a second. If I go to the JSON formatter, I see this policy has been created. So the effect can be either allow or deny. If I deny my user these specific permissions, they won't be able to access S3 at all. But if I allow them, this is the only permission this user will have inside this account. Resource is basically what all resources is this policy applicable to. So if I want my user to have complete access over S3 for only one or two particular buckets, I can mention them here. I want my user to access bucket 1 and bucket 2 only with these permissions, and I can mention that here. Similarly, there are more options, more ways that I can make this policy even more fine-grained by using something such as no action or negative action. So if I mention a negative action here, then the user will have access to everything but S3. So that way it becomes easier to provide a user a particular permission. So yeah, that is all about IAM. Let me just skip back. So next we'll talk about how in the background a permission or a policy is validated. So basically, if you have logged into AWS with a user that has no policies assigned to them or no policies assigned to that group of users, then the start decision is always denied. By default, in AWS, you don't have any permissions. You have zero permissions, so you're not able to do anything. If you have a permission assigned, AWS will evaluate all the applicable policies. So if you're trying to access an S3 bucket, it will check all the policies that have S3 permissions in them. And it will check the deny or the allow. So if there is an explicit deny that is present for that particular policy, then the final decision is directly deny. It does not even check anything further. If you have given an explicit deny, it always takes precedence. But if you have given an explicit allow for the particular action you are trying to do here, the final action would be allow. So AWS account will allow you to access that particular S3 bucket. And if there is neither deny nor allow for that permission that you require, the final decision is deny by default. So similarly, as I mentioned, there are roles for services, and this is one use case that I've mentioned from an EC2 instance. If you want to access something else, if you want to access a Lambda function, if you want to access an S3 bucket, that instance should have a role assigned to it. By default, that instance cannot access any service in the AWS account. So that was all about AWS IAM. Now let's come to protecting the customer data that is in our account. We talked about protecting the services from all the users that will be logging into that account. But what about the data that is present? So even if a particular user has access to S3, they can always download and upload data from the S3 bucket. They can view the data, which we do not want. We want that data to be encrypted so that it's not readable even at rest or in transit. That's why AWS has provided us with cryptographic services. So these services range from completely managed by AWS to managed by the customer completely. That would include key management service, certificate manager, secrets manager, and one of the customer managed services would be AWS Cloud HSM, which I'll be talking about in just a minute. Starting with key management service. So like I mentioned in your application, if you have some data sitting in S3 buckets, how do you secure that data from the users of that account as well as if an external threat, for example? So you can protect your data at rest using the key management service. Key management service is usually used to maintain keys that are used to encrypt and decrypt your data that is at rest. So this could also include block storage that is connected to your EC2 instance, or if your data is flowing through your load balancer into your application, how do you secure that flowing data? So that is where SSL certificates come in, which help you secure your socket layer or transport layer. So the very first service we'll be going through is the key management service. So, what is encryption basically? Encryption, in simple terms, is if you have a file, you take a data key, you have one encryption algorithm that you use, and you encrypt that file. But in KMS, it is a little bit more than that. In KMS, there is one added layer of security that we give. So there is a data key, there is your plain data. You encrypt it using an encryption algorithm. Then you take that data key and you encrypt that key as well using a customer master key. So that encrypted data and that encrypted data key is now stored in your data storage together. And that master key is what is managed by your key management service. It is a logical representation of a key, and the encrypted data key is stored with the data itself. This customer master key never leaves KMS, and hence you will have to use the KMS service in order to decrypt your data. So there are two types of encryptions that are supported by KMS. There is symmetric key encryption and there is asymmetric key encryption. So on a high level, what a symmetric key encryption is, the same key is used to encrypt as well as decrypt the data. This is a private or a secret key and it never leaves the KMS premises. Whereas in asymmetric encryption, there is a public key and there is a secret key. The public key is used to encrypt your data while the secret key is used to decrypt your data. The secret key never leaves the KMS premises, whereas the public key can be downloaded and can be used to encrypt the data locally. Next, we come to key policies. Before we come here, let me give you a small demo on KMS. So here I am on the KMS console. As we can see here, we have three sections. There are AWS Managed Keys. So we can see by the alias naming, it is always AWS / the service for which the key is used. There are three types of keys. There is the AWS Managed Keys, there is the Customer Managed Keys, and there is the AWS Owned Keys. On a high level, AWS Managed Key is something that is intrinsically supported and created and managed by AWS. We can view these keys, but we cannot edit anything about them. There is a policy that is attached to each and every key. And by default, in AWS Managed Keys, it allows all of the resources inside that particular AWS account to be able to use this key to encrypt and decrypt data. We cannot edit this policy. It is by default what is attached to a managed key. But if we check for customer managed keys, here I have created one key, but let me take you through the process of creating a key. So here we can select if we want a symmetric key or an asymmetric key. By default, all the services inside AWS support symmetric encryption only. So if we want to use it with the service, we create a symmetric key. Then we mention an alias for our key. For example, if I want to use it with S3, I'll say S3 KMS and a description for a key. We can also associate some tags with it, and it is a crucial factor that I'll come with later. Now we come for the KMS policy. So there are two parts to the policy. There is an administrative permission that is attached. So this particular permission provided to any of the entities, they'll be able to delete and create the keys apart from using them for encryption and decryption. So I will allow myself to be able to create and delete this key and edit it as well. So here it says that the administrator can also delete this key. I can also choose to uncheck this. Next would be key usage permissions. So the user that I select here would be able to use this key to encrypt and decrypt only. It won't be able to edit this key in any way. So I want my Lambda function to be able to use this particular key. So I assign this role to this Lambda function. I can also allow a separate AWS account to be able to use this key. So here we can see our key is symmetric. It is in a single region. It is regional, and the key can be used to encrypt and decrypt. And this is the policy that comes towards the end. So here we have administrators, and here we have users for the key. And all the principals are all the people who can use that particular policy. So this particular role here can use all of these permissions. And I press on finish and my key would be created. So here I already have a key, and this key has these following administrators and this user. So this particular Lambda function can use this key. Now if I go to my Lambda function and if I see the role that is associated with it, currently it has a no KMS role associated. So this particular role here, I did not define it in my KMS policy. So this role does not have access to this particular key. Now, let's say I have an S3 bucket, right? And in my bucket, I have a few objects. And I want my Lambda function to be able to access this object. But the problem is my S3 bucket currently is encrypted. It is encrypted using KMS and using this particular customer managed key. Now my Lambda function should have a role. The role should first of all be present in my KMS key policy. Otherwise, my Lambda won't be able to access it. So if I go ahead with this role and if I run my code, here if I want to get S3 data, let me just deploy it and we press on test. I will get an access denied response. So it says that access was denied to me because I am not allowed to access that particular KMS ciphertext, right? Now, if I change my role to a role that is present in my key policy, so if I go here and if I change my role to KMS access, which is present in my key policy, and then I try to fetch data from S3, let me just test it. And here in the response, I have successfully fetched the data. So as you can see, I got a 200 response, and here is my data. And all the metadata regarding that object in my S3 bucket. So this is all the metadata regarding my object. It is a plain text file and all of this information. So similarly, this is how we can manage the access to a KMS key. This is how we can create it, we can manage it, and we can rotate a KMS key. So KMS key can be rotated every year. This helps us in further more auditing and compliance. If you have a particular requirement that your key needs to be rotated every year, that is done and managed by AWS intrinsically. If you want to rotate it in less than a year, say 6 months or 3 months, then we have the opportunity to write a Lambda to do that customer in a customer managed way. Going back to our presentation slides. So that was all about key policies and the key rotation that I talked about. So AWS completely manages the key rotation if we go for the 1-year gap. But if we want to rotate our keys in less than 1 year, that we can always write a Lambda function to be able to do that manually. Next, we move on to the certificate manager. So what is a certificate basically? So when you have, for example, if your application is using a load balancer as your content delivery system, the load balancer would have some customer data flowing in from the website as well as going out from the website based on what the user does. So how do we protect this flowing data? How do we protect it such that no one is able to read it? without having the particular key to access it. So that is where secure socket layer or transport layer security comes in. So these certificates we basically attach to any content delivery system or content delivery service that AWS provides, and it makes our data encrypted in transit or dynamic encryption. So that is in-flight encryption. So the communication that is established in between internet and our application, it is completely secure and the data is encrypted. This is again completely managed by AWS. Therefore, all we have to do is quickly request a public certificate, and the renewal of the certificate and everything else is managed by AWS. Let me just show you that on the console. So if I go to the AWS Certificate Manager.
So, Ash, I think we are running out of the time.
Okay.
Can you end this demo?
All right.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move on to Secrets Manager then. So Secrets Manager is an interesting service where we store very sensitive information in the form of key and value pairs that can be retrieved by our application. So it's basically database username, password, or even your application username, password, anything like that we can store in Secrets Manager. So it works similarly with KMS. So we can encrypt all of these secret values using KMS. And similarly, in your KMS key policy, if you have that particular role or user present, only then the secret can be retrieved. Otherwise, you cannot retrieve that particular secret. So this is when you don't want to hard code these secret values in your application. You don't want to hard code them in your config files. You can directly use the SDK or the API to get these secrets and pass them on to your application without exposing them. So the key features are built-in integration with SQL, Postgres, and Amazon RDS. So we can directly store the username password for all of these services without worrying much about managing it. And Secrets Manager can also rotate these secrets, rotate these passwords, communicating with all of these services without the help of the customer or the user. If we want custom rotation, if we want it for a custom service or like a API endpoint that we created, we can always integrate Secrets Manager with Lambda to be able to rotate these secrets manually. There's also versioning available for these secrets. So if there's a discrepancy or if we change the secret to into something a wrong value, we can always fetch an older version of that secret. So that helps us not break our application by changing just the version stage value. And if there is an error in rotating the secret, we can always go back to our previous value by using versioning. Similarly, to KMS, there is fine-grained IAM policies that we can use. We can use tagged base access to Secrets Manager. So if a secret is tagged by, for example, the team name for the dev team only, then only that particular user who is part of the dev team can access that particular secret. And they can also be accessed across accounts. So from a different account, they can be accessed. So for a given use case, if we have code present in, for example, an EC2 instance, we want the EC2 instance to be able to access our database credentials. So with the given appropriate IAM permissions, EC2 will request Secrets Manager for the database credentials. The Secrets Manager will return the database credentials to our application running on EC2, and then our application would be able to connect to the database.
So,
I have a small,
yeah, Ash, I think, sorry, we have to wrap this up now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think guys will go for the quiz. Let me quickly share my screen and we'll go for the quiz section. I'll share the cohort link. So please do register in the Google form. The link we have given for the Google form. Please do register it and use the same name for cohort. If you don't use the same name, we'll not able to get you or we'll not able to contact you. So please do use the same name. Give me 1 second. Let me start the quiz and share the details with you guys. So I hope my screen is visible to you guys. Let me put the link again. Please join via this link and do use the same name which you guys have used for the Google form. We'll wait for the players to join. Yeah, we'll wait for a few more minutes for the folks to join and then we'll start. Last 30 seconds to go. We'll start the quiz. So this is for the AWS security, the session which was just had. Let's start the quiz. And which property allows you to assign an IAM role to multiple types of services? The options are A, permission, B, trusted entities, C, resources, D, principal. Please go ahead and answer it. Okay, the right answer is trusted entity, and we have one person answering it. Let's see who's the winner here. So the right answer is given by Usha. Guys, buck up. We have a couple of more questions to go. Let's go with the second question. Which type of KMS customer managed key can be used with AWS services? Option A, symmetric. Option B, asymmetric. Option C, both. And option D, none. 3, 2, 1. And we have two right answers. Let's see who are the winners here for this second question. Oh, there is a change. So we have Ananya as the first here and Usha as second. No worries, we have a couple of more questions to go. Let me put the next question. Question 3. AWS Certificate Manager can be associated with which AWS services? Load balancer, CloudFront, API gateway, or all of the above? 10 seconds to go. Oh, we have 4 right answers. Let's see how the board looks like now. So Ananya is still on the top, and we see Kite shuffling at the 3 and 4th layer. Let's go with the next question. how can we directly delete a secret in AWS Secret Manager without recovery using AWS Console, AWS SDK/CLI, CloudFormation, or none? And we have 4 right answers. Let's see how the board looks now. Okay, so we see Vishal on the second place, Harshil on the third place, and Ananya right on the top again. Fifth question. Web secures our application on which layers of the OSI model? Network layer, application layer, both, or none? We already have 2 answers. 8 seconds to go. Please answer it now. And time's up. We have 3 right answers. Let's see. Oh, so we see Shubhangi in third place. The first 2 plays remains the same. And here are we with the last question. Which type of external attack does AWS Shield provides protection again? SQL injection, denial of service, bot crawls, or none of the above? Last question to go. 3, 2, 1, and let's see who are the winners. We have 6 right answers, and let's see how the boards look like now and who are our winners. So we at third place we have Ananya. Second place we have Harshil. And who's our winner? Vishal. So here are the 3 winners for today's this quiz. We have first place Vishal, second Harshil, and third Ananya. Congratulations, guys. Please, we'll reach out to you offline for your giveaways. And I hope you have filled out the Google form, so via which we can get your email IDs. So that's all I have from this quiz. I'll pass it on the session to our next audience. Let me quickly introduce our next player before we pass it on the session to her. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up her introduction and then we can go ahead with that. So yeah, our next session will be more around DevOps, and we have Spandana. She's again a cloud engineer, expert in DevOps and the best practices with AWS at Quantify. Let me get her on the stage. How are you, Spandana? How are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Sanchit. I'm doing good.
Thank you. Thanks for joining this session. I hope you are really excited and looking forward to it.
Yes.
Could you go ahead and share your screen?
Yes. Let me know when you can see my screen, Sanjay.
Yes, your screen is coming up. You can go ahead to your presentation.
Yes.
Stage is yours. Best of luck. Go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to this Tech Talk. I'm Spandana. Today's agenda of the session is that I'm going to give an overview of various DevOps services that AWS is offering, followed by which I'll give a simple demo on each service, and then comes a Q&A session, and at the end, we'll have quiz part. So let's begin. Let us imagine an IT life without DevOps. Let me tell you a story. There is a team comprised of 5 members, and each were given a model to work on for app development. After development, they generate a zip file and they upload it to the AWS environment manually. And then while testing it in the environment, they address a bug. They detect the bug, and in order to address it, they decide to write test case. They wrote the test case and then executed it again manually. It's done, and again they are generated a zip file and then uploaded it manually. Again, while testing, they detected a new bug. Again, the cycle keeps on continuing, right? This is such a manual and slow process which the developers feel. And then what they do, some of them they even skip to write the test cases, and the test cases never get executed too. So, feeling helpless, the developers' productivity also reduces. So, see how the life has become of a developer. Now, let's switch to the life with the DevOps. Developer pushes the code to the source control service, and then there are automated build and test phases, and then the deployment also happens very easily. Now, the life of a developer is eased up, right? Let's look into the CI/CD overview. Let me talk about two terminologies: continuous integration and continuous deployment. Continuous integration refers to incremental code changes that developers make from their desktops, followed by which we have automated build and test. After the test comes our continuous deployment phase, wherein it's a process of quickly and reliably delivering a release. And then, what are the benefits of CI/CD? A bug can be addressed as easily and quickly as possible if the developer makes small and frequent code changes. And until and unless this latest version that he deployed is fixed, he can easily roll back to a stable older version. The release rates are also faster, and the developer gets to know the feedback of his code quality from his fellow developers, thus increasing team transparency and accountability. Now let's see about the CI/CD tools of AWS. We have code commit, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. Let's get into each of the service one by one. First comes code commit. So this is a service similar to Git at Bitbucket. It's just that it's completely managed by AWS. It offers encryption, highly secure, and the users are also given IAM permission to work on the repositories. It provides unlimited repositories. There are no size restrictions, unlike other source control service. And we can easily integrate any AWS service or third-party tool seamlessly. And then if you want to get notified of any commit or PR, SNS can be integrated with code commit. Now let's look into the demo part of code commit. Yeah, here we are. The creation of repository doesn't take much time. Just provide a name and then on a single click it creates for you. So for this session, I'm not going to create any of the resources. I've already created them. I'll just walk you through what are the things I have created. This is my repository, and after creating the repository, what I have done is that I've chosen PyCharm as my IDE to first clone the empty repository and then add these files and push them. So I have my serverless app here. It's just a simple Lambda code. Let's look into what I'm going to do with this file in the later stages of this demo. So yes, now we have our serverless application in our code commit. What is the next step? Next step is building the code. So what am I doing for building the code? I'm going to choose my code build service. And this is similar to Jenkins, a build service completely managed by AWS, again, serverless, highly scalable and secure too. You need not worry about provisioning the servers. AWS can do that for you. And depending on the build volume, it can scale up and down too. You don't have to pay for the idle build time. And it also supports for managed build environments. And if you want to install any software in your build environment, you can choose custom Docker images too. And the way in which you can build your application can be instructed in a file called build specification file. Let's look into how the structure looks like. This is an example structure where we can see that some dependencies are getting installed here. And then we are logging into ECR and then building the Docker image, tagging the image, and ultimately pushing it to the ECR. All of them are happening in 4 different phases: install, pre-build, build, and post-build. After which we have artifact section. So this section is where this file is called as build output artifact. This file can be passed on to the next phase if there is any. So enough of the theory part. Let's look into the demo part now for code build. Before that, I will show you the Lambda function which I've already created. This is the demo Lambda function. So the code that is in place is this. So whatever is in my code commit is there over here. After creating it, I have created a alias and published a version, attached version to the alias. Now what I'm going to do is that I have my build specification file. What is happening here? I want to generate a zip file, update the Lambda function code, wait for it to get updated, and then publish a new version. After all these steps, then what I'm doing, I'm outputting appspec YAML file. So we are going to look into this file in the later stages. So yes, this is my build specification file. Let's see the code build console. Let us see how we can create a project for building. Give a name, choose the settings to the, leave it to the default values here. Our source provider is going to be code commit. Then choose the repository name. Then the branch is going to be our main branch. And then leave it to the default value, managed image. I'm going to choose Ubuntu. Runtime is a standard one. Image, you can choose either of them. And then I already have an existing role, so I don't have to create one. If you don't have an existing one, you have to create it and then put the AR in here. And then comes build spec name. So here, wherever you store the build specification file, you have to give that entire path over here. So it is at the root level. I'm going to give build spec.yaml. And then I'm not going to disturb any of the settings and then just create the build project. That's it. Let's see how the project look like after we create it. Once we create the project, what we can do, we can just click on the start build. And after that, we can see the logs. What is happening is what we can get to know from this. First, it is trying to download the source, then the build specification file is getting downloaded. And then it has detected two phases in my file, build and post build. It executes both the phases. And finally, it displays a success status and comes the last phase, uploading the artifacts one. So yeah, now build job is done. What next? The next step is deploying the application. So for that, we have code deploy service. So this is a completely managed AWS service. You don't have to provision anything again here. Highly scalable, secure. It can automate application deployment to various compute platforms like EC2, Lambda, Elastic Beanstalk, ECS, and even on-premise servers. And the way in which you can deploy also can be instructed in an app specification file. So this file syntax is differing for each compute platform, like EC2, Lambda, ECS. It's different for each service. And then what are the advantages of using code deploy? One can easily update application without worrying about the downtime. The complexity is reduced a lot. If there is any, after deployment, if there is any bug that is detected, and if you have enabled rollback, you can easily roll back to the stable older version again here. Yeah, this is the theory part. Let's see the demo part now. So for that, let me show you my app specification file, how it looks like. So this is the format for Lambda function deployment. I've given my Lambda name here, and let's focus on these 3 lines, what these are. So as I've already shown you that I've created an alias with name dev. And the version initially that the version that I have published is 1. Now, if I make any change through code commit, I should see that second version is deployed through code build, and I have to attach my dev alias to the second version. So I have to detach my first version. So how am I going to do that? Let me show you. For that, I need to create an application. Let's name it demo and then choose compute platform as AWS Lambda and then create it. I already have one, so it's not allowing me to do so. After you create the application, go inside it, then create a deployment group, choose a name, enter the service role. I've already one, so this role should have access to Lambda, and then you are provided with various deployment configurations here. You can see Lambda all at once. So what this means, if I want to shift all the traffic to the updated Lambda function at once, I can choose this option. Or if I want to shift 10% of my traffic every minute until it reaches to 100%, I can choose linear. And then if I want to shift 10% now for the first increment, and then 5 minutes later I want to shift the remaining 90%, I can choose canary. For now, I'm going to choose Lambda all at once. Just create the deployment group. And after that, you can just create on the deployment. Once you create the deployment, what happens is your entire traffic can be shifted to the updated Lambda function at once. So yeah, so far we have seen Lambda changes happening in individually through code build, through code deploy, and through code commit. How can I orchestrate all these code commit, build, and deploy? So for that, we have another service, a beautiful one, which is Code Pipeline. Code Pipeline is a service which automates build, test, and deploy. So whatever services we have talked about till now, code commit, code build, and code deploy can be orchestrated in one single pipeline using Code Pipeline. Now let's see how this happens in the demo. For that, you just have to create a pipeline first. Choose a name and then goes a service role. I'm going to choose an existing one. I have already one. And for the advanced settings, I'm leaving it to the default values. And for source provider, it's going to be code commit because I have my code there. Repository name is demo. Branch is main. And then again, leave it to the default values. Choose next. Build provider is AWS code build. Region is US West. Project, just choose the name that I've created. Then click next. Then comes the final phase, which is a deployment. For that, choose code deploy. Region is going to be US West. Application name and the deployment group. Then click on next. Yeah. Once I click on create pipeline, it should show me that it has created 3 stages: one source, build, and deploy. Let's see it in our already created pipeline. Yeah, you can see here source, build, and deploy. So if I make any change to my Lambda function right here, what happens? First, the pipeline gets triggered. First is the source stage, and then the output of source goes as an input to build stage. It generates the zip, updates the Lambda function here, publishes a new version, and then it outputs AppSpec YAML file for the deploy stage. And this takes that as an input and shifts the traffic to the published version. So after the, yeah, this is the entire pipeline. If you want to get notified of pipeline execution, let's say if you want to get notified of whether my pipeline succeeded or not, I can just create a notification rule for this. And yeah, So this is about CI/CD. And one more thing I forgot to show is phase details for code build. Here you can see the duration. So for each phase, how long it took. So earlier while showing the slides, I was telling that you'll not be paying for the idle build time. You'll be charged for how much you use, how much the build has run, how much time it has run. And then okay, this is about CI/CD. Now let's look into the next topic, which is cloud formation. For this, again, I want to tell a story. There is a team, they were given a task of deploying n number of lambdas, n number of queues, n number of buckets in dev, stage, prod, sit accounts into multiple regions. So they finally this sums up to a lot of resources, right? In multiple regions, they have to deploy them. And if let's say the developer takes 5 days to deploy these resources manually in one environment, imagine the amount of time he takes to deploy it to the remaining environments or regions. So overwhelmed by the amount of tasks that he has in his hand, what he does is he goes on a unplanned leave. Had he been aware of cloud formation tool that AWS is offering, he wouldn't have taken that step. So what is cloud formation? Cloud formation is a simple way of provisioning and managing a group of resources through code. Just go to the console, choose a template, then provide parameters, and then on one single click you can create a stack, and on a single click you can delete the stack too. So just be careful of this delete operation, because if you're working on a critical stack, that affects a lot. Just enable the termination protection on that, which CloudFormation offering. Then CloudFormation is declarative in nature. You don't have to uh, specify details in order to achieve a desired state. And then if and then let's say if I had deployed first version yesterday, now I'm going to deploy second version, and while deploying so I have encountered an error. So what CloudFormation does, it rollbacks to first version. So that is a nice feature. CloudFormation supports two file formats, which is JSON and YAML. I personally prefer YAML because it's easy to read and write. And if CloudFormation doesn't support creation, updation, or deletion of any resource directly, you have an option to do so using custom resource through Lambda. So Lambda does the job for you. And then coming to template structure. So we can see right here, these are all the sections that one can include in their template. Out of all this, resources section is the compulsory one, and the rest are all optional ones. Metadata is about additional information for the template, and description is what this template is going to do. Parameters are the values that you will be passing on to the resources. Mappings are keys and values that again you are going to use it in the resources section. Conditions, if I want to conditionally create any resource, so I use this section. I make use of that section and use it in resources. And then we have this resources section, an important section wherein I can provide the resources that I want to create, the properties for it. And then last comes our output section. If I want to output any bucket name or bucket ARN, I can just provide the value in the output section. So yes, let's look into the demo part now. Yeah. Okay, you are provided with two options. One to choose, either you can upload your template to S3 and give the S3 URL here, or you can directly choose the template from your local system. I'm going to choose the second option. Next step is give a name to your stack, environment, and then the project. So these are the values that I'm going to use in the resources block. And then you can also optionally provide tags. We have a permission section. You can optionally provide an IAM role. If you don't provide IAM role, it assumes the permissions that you have for your IAM user. Click on next. Yeah, these are all the parameters that I have set in the beginning. I can see them here. And then it's just on a single click, you can create the stack. Let us go into the stack that I have already created. Let's see the events that have taken place. First, it says that creation in progress, and finally it creates. And if you make any updation also, that can be seen here. The status can be seen here. The parameters that I have provided can be seen here. The template I have chosen is seen here. The resources that the stack has created is a bucket with this name. And in the output section, I have outputted a bucket name and bucket ARN. So I can see that here. And as I was saying, you have an option to enable termination protection. So if you are working on critical resources, the critical stack, you can choose this. And on a single click, you can just delete it. Yeah, this is about cloud formation. So our next agenda is to go into Q&A session. So Sanchit.
Thanks, Pandana. I think that was really good. You cover a lot of different sections of DevOps, what you can do. I was really looking at the back end, the different kinds of questions we have on the chat. So it was really amazing. Audience, I'll take some time. If you have any questions, any queries around DevOps, please put it in the chat, Spandana, and I'll be happy to answer. Or in case, if you're viewing this video on the recording mode, you can put it in the comment section and we will answer them offline. So we'll take a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. If not, then we'll move to our second quiz. Cool. Awesome. I think let me go ahead, share my screen. Thank you, Spandana, for this wonderful session. Let me take it from here. I'll go ahead, share my screen, and we'll play a quick round quiz. So here is the link for the quiz. Please, guys, we have a couple of minutes. Please enroll yourself. And again, the winners of the first quiz are technically not liable to participate. Even if you participate, you can feel free, you can participate. But if you are the winners, you will not get a chance to win the swags or giveaways what we are giving. Just we want to be fair for the other people. So this is for all the folks who missed out the first quiz. This is a second opportunity for you. Please join now. And again, please use the same name which you have used for signing in our Google form. If you haven't signed our Google form yet, please, here is a link for the same. And Harshal, I think the link for the quiz is just in the above, kahoot.it !pin. We have given that link. You can follow that same link. Let me repost it again. So I've reposted the link again for the quiz. Please do participate. All the folks who didn't got a chance to win for the last quiz, this is for you guys. I'll take 1 minute more and then I'll lock and start the quiz. We have 30 seconds more to go. Awesome. Let me go ahead and start the quiz. So we are with our first question, which is this quiz on DevOps and AWS. Let's get the first question out here. CFT template can be created using which of the below? JSON, YAML, both JSON, YAML, shell scripting. Quick, guys. 12 seconds to go. CFT template can be created using which of the following below? JSON, YAML, both JSON, YAML, and shell scripting. You have 1 second to go. Time's up. We have 3 right answers. Both JSON and YAML is the right answer. Let's see who are the winners. Okay, so Vishal is the winner. Harshal and Vijay. Let's go with the second question. Again, I'll keep remind the winners of the first quiz will be disqualified. Which of the below is an AWS version control service? Code commit, code build, code deploy, GitLab. Three, two, one. So we have 3 right answers, which is code commit. Let's see how the scoreboard looks like. So we have Harshal at the top. Okay, awesome. Let me go ahead with the third question. Code build does not support which of the below external source repository? Interesting. Option A, GitHub. Option B, GitLab. Option C, Bitbucket. Option 4, code commit. 10 seconds to go. Please answer quickly. Three, two, one. Let's see. Time's up. So we have 3 right answers. Answer is GitLab. Let's see how the scoreboard look like. Oh, so we have a change here in the scoreboard. So let's go for the fourth question. Which of the below file types is used for code deploy to manage deployment? App spec, build spec, code spec, or deploy spec? Which of the below file types is used for code deploy to manage deployment? Time's up. And the right answer is app spec, and we have 2. Let's see the scoreboard. Awesome. So we have the scoreboard, and the last question for this quiz. AWS code pipeline is which type of AWS DevOps service? Option A, continuous integration. Option B, continuous delivery. Option C, both. And option D, none. Let's see who is the winner of this particular quiz second. So we are 3, 2, 1. Time's up. We have 2 right answers from this one, which is continuous delivery. Let's see how the scoreboard looks like now. Who are the 3 lucky winners? Harshal, Vishal, and we have the first lucky winner, Ram. Congratulations. And we have 2 runner-ups, Vijay and Harsh. As I mentioned in the beginning, Vishal and Harshal are the winners from the last session. So I will consider the remaining 4th and the 5th winner for this quiz. So we'll have Rahim, Vijay, and Harsh for this one. Congratulations for all the winners. If you still didn't got a chance to win, don't get disappointed. There's one more quiz, and we have one more last section, which is around our certification workshop. And post that, we'll have one more quiz. So with that, let me stop. Let me quickly bring up our next speaker for today. Let me go ahead and share my screen and get the speaker for the next session, next our technical workshop. Awesome. So we are at the last section of us, which is around certification workshop. most of the people always have a question, right? I want to go for AWS certification, but how do I begin with? What's the right material? What's the right resources? Or what's the right type of certification? I am pretty sure you guys would have that question at certain point of your career. So with that, we have Neha. She's a senior cloud engineer at Cloud Exchange. Let me get her on the stage. Hi, Neha. How are you doing today? You're on mute. We can't hear you, Neha. I think there's some network noise at your end. Still, we can't hear you, I think. Just give us a couple of minutes. I think she's facing some issue. So just to briefly talk about, she has done all of her associate certification at very early stage of her career, what we saw in the fire chat session itself. So that's what she'll share her experience, her journey about how she able to pursue her certification. Yeah, Neha, can you hear us? No, we can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself, Neha, again and try once again, please? Just give us a couple of minutes. I think, Neha, you're getting there's some issue at your end. Can you try with your another device something? Maybe you can try to sign in from your phone or something. Just give us a couple of minutes. Neha will be back, and then we'll start with our next track. I hope you guys like the session. And please, if you are very new and looking forward to join the AWS user group, please join the AWS user group Mumbai. The workspace link has been flashing on the screen. So guys, I think Nia is changing a device. Let me do one thing, just to make it interesting. I will go with our third quiz, which will go ahead and we'll play the third quiz. Again, let me warn, the terms and conditions are the same. For the people who have already won the first two quiz, you guys can participate, but you won't get a chance to win this third quiz. This is for all the people who didn't got a chance in the first two quiz to win the third one. So let me start with the third one, and we'll then, in meantime, we'll get Neha on the stage. So give me 1 second. Let me just quickly get my screen. And let's go for the third quiz. So let me go with the third quiz quickly. I'll share my screen. And we'll go with the third screen. So let's wait for the third quiz. So let me post the link in the chat. And as I mentioned, this is for the people who didn't got a chance to win the first two quiz. Please do join. I'll post a link in the chat. So all the people, please do join. The winners of the first two quiz can participate, but they don't get a chance to win the third quiz. Quickly. I think we already have Neha in the backstage with the new laptop, so we'll quickly go ahead with this quiz, and then we'll get Neha on to talk about her experience. So I'll start the quiz. I think it's a very interesting question. What if all have been the winners till the last round? Awesome. That's what we are looking. We want all the participants to get good amount of giveaways. So we want all the winners, all the participants to be winners. So with that, let me start the quiz. Again, we'll have 5 questions. Question 1. Here we go for the question 1. Which is a fully managed desktop computing service? Amazon Workspace, Amazon Glacier, AMI, none of the above. 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. So we have 4 right answers. As we know, Amazon Workspace. Let's see how the scoreboard looks like. So Harish is leading for the first questions. First question, let me get the second one. There is the second question. Which of the following services are free in AWS? AWS Code Pipeline, AWS Code Commit, AWS Code Build, or all of the above? Which of the following services are free in AWS? We have 2 answers, 3. Time's running out. Time's up. We have 5 right answers, all of the above. Let's see how the scoreboard look like. So we have Amarnath as the top. Let's go for the third question. What is VPC? I hope everyone would be clear with this one. It's allow customizing your network configuration, throttle data transfer. It delivers the content directly from the original server. None of the above. Let's see. So we don't have any right answers yet. So the right answer was it allows customizing your networking configuration. Let's see how the scoreboard looks like. So there is no change as there was no one who answered this question. Let's go for the fourth one. EC2 machine type defines which of the following? AWS region, core count, user location, none of the above. EC2 machine type defines which of the following? We have 1 answer. Time's running out. Time's up. So we have to core count. Let's see how the scoreboard look like. So we have Harish at the top and Amarnath at the second and Harshal at the third. Let me hit the last question. And this is the last quiz, so please buck up. What is Redshift? Redshift is a big data warehouse product, a Baker RDS instance, both A and B. Last, none of the above. Please do answer. This is the last question for this quiz. So as we know, the right answer is Redshift is a big data warehouse product. Let's see how the scoreboard looks like. Who are our 3 lucky winners here? Rupesh at the top, third. Harshil at second. Who's our winner here? Harish is our winner. Congratulations. And we have Usha and Amarnath. As I mentioned, I can see Harshal, who also participated in our previous quiz. So he is a winner, but he'll get only the winner for the first quiz, and we'll pick the next one, 4th and the 5th location of it. So congratulations to the winners. I can quickly see that Neha is back now. So let me get Neha on the stage. Hi Neha, can you hear us now?
Yeah, hi Sanjay. I hope I'm audible now.
Awesome. Perfect. We can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry about the slight technical glitch.
No problem. No problem. So,
okay.
Neha, stage is yours. Neha, I just want to quickly talk about her. I think she has done all the associate certification at so early in her career. And I think this is right for all of you folks to learn from her, ask any sorts of questions and make this more interactive. So I'll keep my mouth shut and pass the control to Neha. Neha, stage is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So I'll just share my screen and we can quickly get started with the session. I hope my screen is visible. And thank you all for joining us on this brief discussion today that we're going to be having about AWS certifications and everything around it. We will be talking about what AWS certification could you choose to pursue depending on your interests or the profile that you would like to pursue. We would be talking about how do you exactly prepare for your AWS certification. Specifically, we will be talking about associate level certifications. We would also be talking about what are the benefits, the criteria to pass, the format of the exam, literally everything regarding it. So before any further ado, I think I'd like to get started with the session. But before that, just a little introduction about myself. So my name is Neha Thakur. I work as a senior cloud engineer at Cloud Exchange. We are a cloud managed services organization, and we take care of customers' needs, anything and everything related to cloud, basically. About me, I started my AWS certification journey back in 2017. I was in engineering college that time. I just got really intrigued by the buzzwords that were surrounding the industry, cloud, AWS. I had heard it for a really long time. And I just wanted to just get started, studying the concepts related to it. I wanted to learn more. Slowly, I came across the certifications and I thought I was really interested enough to kind of go ahead and attempt one. So I gave my first AWS certification was the Developer Associate certification that I attempted back in October 2017. And thankfully, I was able to pass it. Following that, I was followed by my attempt at Solutions Architect Associate and SysOps Admin Associate as well the following year in 2018. And personally speaking, I actually didn't see a lot of my peers going about the certification route at that point of time in their career. Most people try to attempt certifications when they pass out from engineering, when they're freshers, or when they're completely into the industry, or they land up a cloud associated job profile. So is it really necessary for you to, if you're in college and if you're doing your engineering, is it really necessary for you to attempt a cloud certification and AWS certification? No, it's not mandatory, but will it benefit you? Will it give you an upper hand as compared to your other peers when you fresh pass out of college and when you're attempting to apply at various jobs? And if you want to get into the cloud industry. Will it benefit you? Of course, because personally, like, those certifications really helped me help my profile stand out when I was applying for different internships. So I was able to, it helped me understand a lot of concepts. It helped me get into the field. It gave me a good head start into the field. And also it really like, it will really help your profile stand out when a recruiter considers your profile, whether it's for an internship or any kind of job. So yeah, that was a little bit about my personal journey with AWS certifications, how I started it off. And yeah, without any further ado, I think I'd like to just get started with the topic for today. So before we get into how do you crack associate level AWS certifications, why don't we start off by addressing the elephant in the room? Why should you get AWS certified? Apart from the reasons I've just talked about related to my personal experience, I would just like to throw some light on some statistics here. 80% people receive the higher salary because of a cloud certification. 52% people found better career opportunities, whether it's starting off with finding a job, or whether it's if you're looking out for another job or switching a job. 82% of hiring managers or recruiters agreed that cloud certifications do make a candidate and his or her profile more attractive. Also, professionals with certifications received at least an average raise of 40% or even more. So if all this is not reason enough, I don't know what is. So you need to be rest assured that if you do plan on it, it will not only benefit you into learning more of something that will definitely benefit you in the long run and in your career, but also provide lucrative results in your career path, like in the opportunities or the chances that you're going to get. Moving on, let's talk about the different certifications, the different levels that are there in AWS certifications. Now, when I started off, there was the first level was associate level. The foundational level, which is the cloud practitioner, was introduced shortly after. Cloud practitioner is absolutely is kind of for like absolute beginners who have no experience to like 6 months of experience whether it's theoretical, whether it's experience related to use being aware of the theoretical concepts, or if you've been part of the industry and if you've had some opportunity with cloud, then you could start off by attempting the cloud practitioner certification. It's more or less an introduction. It focuses on it is basically an introductory aspect to AWS concepts. It focuses on the general structure of AWS, not on services majorly as such, but it does cover some services, but on an overview level, and some working knowledge of what the major services look like. With associate level, there's obviously a little bit more of deep dive into the core AWS services, depending on which exact associate level certification you're attempting. I would say that 1 year of experience, or even if I was a complete novice when I started the associate level AWS certification, thankfully I was able to crack it. So if I can, anybody can. So it's just about getting started. But if you do have 1 year of experience, yeah, definitely associate level certifications are for you. Professional takes it a notch higher in terms of like the difficulty level, as well as it's the aspect of like it deep dives into comprehensive designing trouble. So if you have experience into like troubleshooting or handling day-to-day operations or handling AWS infra or accounts, and you're fairly confident about solving design issues or troubleshooting any sort of issues, whether like from minor to major, in that case I think you should definitely consider professional certification. Professional certifications, again, there are two certifications, SA professional and DevOps engineer professional. Then comes the specialty certifications. In that, these are more domain and domain oriented and very niche to the certification that you're planning for, and it depends on what path again, or what path do you want to take, and or what exact domain or profile do you want to pursue, and how exactly that an AWS certification of that particular domain would play a role in your career. So there are in specialty certifications you have your advanced networking certification, data analytics, database, machine learning, as well as security specialty certification. So again, depends on your interest, and it's not necessary. You can attempt any certification on the basis of your interest, and uh, just go with the flow as well. But if you have a certain path in mind that you want to be more on the security side of things, or if you want to be more on the networking side of things, then it makes sense to just aim for that particular certification. So this is just a tentative roadmap that a candidate who wants to attempt an AWS certification could follow. So if you want to pursue the profile for cloud architect, you need to definitely have the SA associate certification and the developer associate certification. SysOps admin is recommended, but it's not absolutely mandatory. And eventually in your career, if you do attempt, it would be really beneficial if you attempt the SA professional certification as well. Cloud practitioner, like I said, it's basically on the foundational level, so it's it as an introductory it takes an introductory approach to AWS concepts. So cloud practitioner for most of these profiles is optional, but if you want to, you can get started with that before attempting the associate level certifications as well. For developer profile, I would say SA is recommended, not absolutely mandatory. Developer associate is absolutely needed, and SysOps admin is again recommended. So we can I will link the link to my slides, so you can go through these the exact parts or the roadmap that you can follow for the profile that you would like to pursue, and the permutation combinations of these different certifications that you could attempt for the profile that you'd like to pursue. So how does the exam how does it work? Like, where do you register? What all is required? What is the format? So you'll have to register at www.aws.training. When you register, you need to provide 2 identity documents and a credit card for your payment of the exam. The details are then sent to you by email. In your exam, no notes or no rough paper or anything as such is allowed. You are not allowed to take a pen. You're closely monitored. You are not allowed to speak. At the end of the exam, you can optionally review all the questions and answers. So it is not like if you've attempted a question, you cannot come back to it. There's no rule as such. You can review your questions as many times as you want. Also, at the end of the exam, you will know if you have passed or failed the exam. So the verdict will be right out. You will get a pass or a fail immediately after your exam, but you will not know your score. So back when I had started my AWS certification, it worked on the basis of percentage. Right now it is out of 1,000. So you get scored out of 1,000 marks. You will not know which answers were right or wrong. So you will not get a complete, so you won't be able to really analyze which answers that you attempted were right, which were wrong. And your overall score you will get later through an email notification a couple of days later. It depends on which day you are attempting the exam. My experience is you do get your score on the same day itself. So what is the format of the exam? Let's talk a little bit about that. So for your cloud practitioner and your associate level certifications, as well as your specialty certifications, you have 65 questions that you need to attempt. The time frame, the time period varies according to the level that you're going for. For cloud practitioner, you have 65 questions in 100 minutes that you need to attempt. For associate, there are 65 questions in 130 minutes, and specialty certification, there's 65 questions in 170 minutes. So as the level advances, you get more number of minutes per question, and fairly so. The passing criteria for the different AWS certifications varies. So for practitioner, associate, and for practitioner and associate, you need a 720 or more out of 1,000 to pass your certification. For professional and specialty certification, you need at least a 750 or more. Now, what my personal recommendation would be, try to be above 800 or 80%. Try to score at least an 80% to be really safe, because sometimes you may really you may attempt a question, you may think that you have the answers right, but it's too much. It's too much of a close call if you're aiming for just about 720 or 750. Aim for as high as possible. That's obvious, but try to be so well prepared that you at least aim for an 800 or above. So the exam content, okay, what exactly will you be asked in your exam? So there are two types of questions that you get asked. Most of your questions are multiple choice questions, which have obviously one correct answer and three incorrect answers. You'll get 4 options. Some of the questions will also be multiple response answers, so you will get 5 options. Out of that, the question will ask you to choose 2 or more correct responses out of the 5. So one thing to be careful of here is that the software does not tell you if you've selected the right number of answers. So if you've selected less than required or more than required, you don't really get a warning as such. But be careful that if you've been asked to select just 2 questions, try to select that much only. Otherwise, it can lead to it being that question landing into a conflict or so. Recently, I think tentatively last year, only the SysOps admin associate exam has been introduced with a hands-on lab session. So you have 2 sections in that exam. One is your one is your theoretical, like multiple choice questions and multiple response questions, and the second section contains of your hands-on lab questions. They are trying to design, Amazon is trying to design this particular certification to be more practical oriented, and you get a total of 180 minutes to finish both of these sections. A key thing to note here is once you finish your theoretical questions, you can review it, but once you finish it and move on to your hands-on questions, lab or practical questions, you cannot come back to your theoretical questions. So please be aware about that and be careful. So once you submit your MCQs or your other theoretical questions, you cannot come back. So that means you're submitting it once and for all, finally, for the exam. One personal tip here is always try to answer the question. Always, no matter, even if you don't know the answer at all, try to take be calm, try to take a calculated guess. Take it this way, that it is a chance at you scoring, because there's no negative marking, there's no penalty for a wrong answer, so you will not lose anything. But if you will not lose anything if you answer it incorrectly, but if you don't answer it at all, you're actually losing 1 in 4 chances to be right about the question. So that is definitely not going to benefit you in the exam and your score at all. So please try to answer it no matter what, even if you don't know, if you can't even take a calculated guess, if you never read about that before, still try to take a guess, try to answer it, attempt it for sure. Because like I said, unanswered questions are considered as incorrect. If you need to review a question for later, you can flag it. So there's an option of flagging the question that you're in doubt of. So if you out of 65 questions, I think it's important to manage your time, right? So you cannot spend a long time on one question, because then you'll have to kind of rush up your other questions. So try to, even if a question is tricky, try to spend some time, think calmly, attempt it, don't leave it unattempted. If you're in doubt of it, try to flag it and come back for review. So I usually, in my what I personally do is I try to finish all the questions, and last 20 minutes or 15 minutes I keep for review. And trust me, there are a lot of questions that I flag for review later. But because in the exam you kind of sometimes tend to overthink as well, that okay, what if this is the right answer? What if something else is the right answer? Even if you know it, sometimes, because the answers or the options are such that if you have A, B, C, D, it's not necessary that only one is supposed to be the correct answer. The other three may also be right answers to the questions, but A is just the best one. Like, you have to not only choose the correct answer, you have to choose the best answer. So you just have to aim to analyze and think which out of all of the options that you have gotten is the best answer as compared to the other three. Not necessary that the other options that you've been given are absolutely wrong. So now that we know the format of the exam and other aspects of the exam, how do you exactly start? So if you're a complete novice, or even if you're not, I think taking up some courses would be really good. There are some courses, great courses online. There are platforms like Udemy, Cloud Guru, Linux Academy that provide some really good courses for all Amazon certification exams. So start off with that. Try to understand the basic concepts. Attempt the quizzes at every end of every end of each section. Try to really be patient with it. Get to the depth of the concepts, understand them, and then move ahead with practicing for your exam. Do your practical labs. So whatever practical labs and exercises are there, try to if you have the time, try to attempt at least some of them. You can create an AWS account, and you can start off by getting your hands dirty, doing the hands-on labs that are taught in any of these courses. That will really help you. You'll end up feeling really more confident at the day of your exam, for sure. Apart from this, you need to really practice you sign up for practice tests, do your practice tests, attempt them. Get a look and feel of the questions. Like, try whenever you're attempting any practice tests. There are some great ones provided by Amazon on their training site. There are some really great ones on Udemy. There's if I'm not wrong, John Bonzo, Stefan Marek, and Abhishek Singh. They have some really great practice tests, and they will really prepare you well for the exam, because the questions really test your knowledge on it, and at times they are designed in a way for them to be a little more tougher, so that you're actually prepared in a very effective way for your actual exam. There are some really great Amazon resources, like white papers, various courses, various training programs, digital training, FAQs. Amazon documentation itself is really well known for being completely extensive and really detailed. So if you do get the time, I would really recommend that you read up from the Amazon documentation, the FAQs. Every service in AWS has a different set of FAQs. So if nothing, at least going through those FAQs would really, in a question and answer format, would really help you prepare for your exam and understand things from the ground up. Also, lastly, try to search for like sample questions. Try to get a look and feel of things. Even when you're attempting the practice tests, don't typically just choose the answers to just get to the end of it and know the results, and know which answers are right for the questions that you're attempting. do attempt it genuinely for the first time, because that really helps you understand where you stand. Because after the first time, you will know, you will kind of remember what the answers are. That won't be genuine. So first time, whatever test it is you're attempting, whether it's a quiz or whether it's an actual full-fledged practice test, please uh, get a look and feel of how, try to gauge where you exactly stand. So getting some direction, right? What apart from all of these steps are you supposed to do, or what would you do that would really help you even more? I would suggest, do consider joining a community. Uh, there are AWS user groups in every major city. AWS user group Mumbai, Pune. Try to join any of these user groups. It'll really help you. Being part of a community really builds you up. It's all about helping one another, and it really benefits you. You get to learn a lot from great people in the industry out there, seniors. So do that. Try to allot a certain time of your day to self-study. Whether if you're a working professional, try to allot some time before your work, if post-work becomes too taxing, or if depending on your preference, even post-work, post your work uh, completely is all right. um, Set your daily and weekly goals. I think note them down, like what do you want to accomplish on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and set a timeline, like when do you want to exactly attempt the certification. You need to feel completely like confident before you attempt your certifications, and you need to know that you are getting a fairly good score in your practice tests as well. Because if you're not, then that's completely fine, but that means that there's more, definitely more scope for you to prepare for your actual AWS certification. So do set your goals and try to follow up, uh, and not only just set them. Set your short and long term milestones to assess your progress. And lastly, try to build a project. If nothing else, it could be something as simple as just spinning up a server, trying to run your application on your server, or even doing a simple thing like static website hosting on an S3 bucket. Anything really simple, straightforward, try to do that. It will really help you. It will make you feel really confident. So I really do recommend that. And lastly, practice, practice, practice. Like, there are a lot of free and paid courses on the internet. There is this site called, if I'm not wrong, skillbuilder.aws, explore.skillbuilder.aws. There are a lot of free courses that Amazon provides on this particular website. You can make use of them. It will really help you, and they are specifically, like, if you can see the image that we have attached over here, it's specifically related to your exam preparation and different AWS certification exams. So taking up these free courses will really help you understand the concepts better, and yeah, it's going to be overall really beneficial. There are a lot of paid courses as well, like I mentioned earlier. There's some great platforms like Udemy, Cloud Guru, Linux Academy, Tutorials Dojo, WizLabs. WizLabs and Tutorials Dojo are also great for your uh, practice tests that you attempt to that you can purchase to attempt the questions before you actually plan your exam. And there are some miscellaneous resources that I would like to talk about before, like, moving towards the end of the session or winding up the session. There is an AWS training site, www.aws.training. It has some really great resources as well, uh, related to your exam preparation, exam readiness, different levels of AWS certifications, different specific AWS certifications. There are a lot of courses, and there are a lot of resources out there for you to avail and to just get started with. So do consider checking all of these great resources out, and it will really benefit you. Finally, some bonus tips and tricks. Try to read the question thoroughly. AWS certifications do have sometimes they do have lengthy questions. Don't get intimidated by the length of the questions. Try to really calmly understand what is the question asking, what are you required to do, analyze according to whatever's asked of you from start to end. If you don't understand if you're not able to understand what exactly has been asked, read it multiple times slowly and effectively, and then try to attempt it. Answer the question first and then look at the choices. So if you're confident about your concepts, try to answer it on your own first, and then look at the choices, and you can then see that if you have figured out an answer on your own, if that is already there in your choices. If nothing works, if you don't know the right answer, that's absolutely okay. It happens with all of us. Again, don't get intimidated by that. Just try to do a trial and error approach. Like, try to see, okay, if you don't know the right answer, no big deal. But at least try to be that prepared that you would at least be able to detect the wrong answers. So if you don't know the right answer, out of ABCD, you know that A and D could not be the right answers for sure. They are absolutely wrong. They don't even fit in this question. So in that case, the final call is between B and C. And then again, try to be really calm. Try to see which one suits this situation, the case scenario that Amazon has asked you many times. AWS certification exams are more use case based or like case scenario based. They give you a scenario. They try to make you analyze and think of yourself that you are put into that situation. What would you do? What call would you take? So if in doubt, flag your answer. That option is always available. Come back to it. Review your flagged answers. Flag as many questions as you'd like. And yeah, all the very best for your for any AWS certification that you are planning to attempt. If there are any questions, I would really love to take them up right now. Or if you don't have any questions right now, you have any questions later, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or to Sanchit on LinkedIn as well, and we can get connected over the other platforms as well. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Nia. I think it's really wonderful. As I said in the beginnings of the session itself, I think you have achieved a lot at very early stage of your career. So I completely agree with that. And yeah, folks, if you have any questions, any queries about certifications, as Nia just mentioned, we'll take some time. Please put it in the chat. We'll happy to answer. As well as if you're watching this video in a recording form, you can reach out to Neha. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can put the same question in the chat. I will ensure you'll get the right answers within the given time frame. So yeah, and also I think there was some discussion on the quiz and all. So we have consolidated data from the backend, and I will announce the winners if you don't have any questions. So please, and there are more surprises along with the quiz winners. So please hold off for a couple of more minutes. And yeah, if you have any questions for Neha, please put it in the chat. She'll be happy to answer. Yep. And please, as I said, please do join us for such wonderful events. I hope you all like this event. So if you want to continue learning, understanding what different events are there, please do join our AWS user group Mumbai Slack workspace. The link is given in the chat, as well as it's flashing on the screen, bit.ly/join AWS MUM. Please do join us today to get such opportunity to understand what we are doing innovative in our work Slack, as well as learn from it. So I think I'll go ahead and share my screen. Thank you, Nia. I'll take you to the backstage. Thanks for spending your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So pretty excited time. Excited section. We have gone through a 3 hours of journey today, starting with the fire chat with all the wonderful and bright mindset in our AWS user group India community, followed up with the tech talks from Spandana, Aishwarya, and at the last we concluded with Neha giving a wonderful walkthrough around her journey and how to achieve different certification. That's not the least. Let me go with the winners. We have gone through different 3 sections of quiz, and let me quickly announce the winners for the quiz. So we have gone through the 3 different quiz, and here are the winners. Vishal, Harshal, Ananya are the quiz 1. Quiz 2, Ram, Vijay, and Harish. And quiz 3, Rupesh, Usha, and Amarnath. This is what we have consolidated, considering there were a couple of quiz where we have the winners from the previous quiz. So we have pull the data from the backend to consolidate or consider the 4th and the 5th section around it. Again, please do note out, we'll reach out to all the winners by end of next week for, yeah, I'll make that correction, Vishal. Thanks for pointing that out. We'll reach out to you guys offline for all the giveaways and other details. I hope you have filled out your details in the Google form. If still you haven't filled it out, this is the last chance. This is the only medium what we'll have to communicate or contact or connect with you guys. If you haven't still filled out, I'm sharing the link again in the chat. Please do register all the winners. That's only become medium for us to reach out to you guys. So that's our quiz winner. We also do have surprises for you guys. So the surprises are that we have been nominating 2 persons who have been more engaged in the chat by asking the right questions. We'll have 2 winners, and we'll announce the 2 winners again by next week. We'll reach out to them offline and we'll consolidate. We'll go through all the chats, the entire recording, and we'll announce the 2 winners by Monday or Tuesday next week. And we'll again reach out to them by next week itself to give them the required or the kind of swag or giveaways what we have. So please hold your breath. This is not the end. This is just a start. And that's what we have from today's event, SheTalks, where we have gone through a good amount of learning experiences from the people, and also see how we can technically grow and achieve the right certification, and how community can help you to get maximum out of it. I hope you like this particular event and you're pretty interested to join. Please do join the community nearby your locality, and let us know if you need any help. Do reach out to any of us. We are all open and ready to help you guys and help you guys to learn. So that's all from today from me, and I look you guys in the next upcoming session, which we will organize, and we'll keep you guys posted. That's all from our side, from AWS User Group Mumbai, AWS User Group Nashik, Pune, and rest of our external community partners. Please do let us know if there is any medium we can help you. Stay safe. Thank you.